Hello, everyone, and welcome to McLean Stadium in East Lansing. The Capital Diamond Classic semifinals. Coming up next, Portland versus Okemos, Game 1 of our doubleheader. We're going to kick it over to the PA. Colton Wesley, Maxwell Fritz will have the call for you in just a little bit. You are listening to the Capital Diamond Classic on OpenEndedMedia.com.
Batting first, playing center field, number 4, Barrett Brennan. Batting second, the left fielder, number 8, A.J. Weber. Batting third, shortstop, number 2, Evan Phelan. Batting fourth, the catcher, number 17, Brody Moore. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 15, Hudson Martin. Batting sixth, the DH, number 22, Tyler Smith. Batting seventh, the third baseman, number 3, Gunnar Williams. Batting eighth, the pitcher, number 24, Max Sanborn. Batting ninth, the second baseman, number 11, Levi Novus. Right fielder, number 10, Keaton McGregor. And the rest of your Portland Raiders and coaches. Now for the home team, the Wolves from Okemos. Head coach is Raul Fresas. Batting first, the right fielder, number 11, Jake Stagg. Batting second, the second baseman, number 6, Caleb Wilkinson. Batting third, the third baseman, number 3, James Polinas. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, number 21, Ray Smith. Batting fifth, center fielder, number 2, Carter Aremski. Batting sixth, the shortstop, number 5, Keegan Noble. Batting seventh, the pitcher, number 9, Jimmy Pigataro. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 7, Gabe Hart. Batting ninth, the left fielder, number 14, Sebastian Blair. The first baseman, number 20, Damon Wu. At this time, we ask that you stand and gentlemen, remove your caps as we honor America and the men and women who serve with the singing of our national anthem.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to McLean Stadium in East Lansing, the Capital Diamond Classic on open-ended media, presented by the Lansing Herald. I'm Colton Wesley here with Maxwell Fritz. Portland and Okemos, these two teams both coming in hot. Portland's won 13 of their last 14, Okemos 14 of their last 15 max. End of the season, compressed schedule because of the rain. What do these teams need to find down the stretch if they're going to win in this Capital Diamond Classic? You got 2 games left.
Well, Colton, it's pitching. That's going to be the key all night today for both doubleheaders, and if one of these teams wins, even more so. The pitching depth in high school is very hard to come by because you play so many games in a short period of time, and these are young arms, Colton. You know, we see this more and more in Major League Baseball now. You used to have pitchers go out there, throw 150 pitches, do complete game after complete game, and be fine. Now, as the science evolves, we're learning a lot more about potential injuries that can happen from overuse. Especially with boys in this level, you want to wear off that wear and tear as much as possible. So there's not many pitchers in the repertoire right now that are available for both teams. And they want to save their best for last because not only do you have the district finals, you're playing in the final of the Diamond Classic if you win here.
Potentially games 3 or 4 straight nights for these teams. It'll be Jimmy Pignataro on the bump to get things started for Okemos. Starting lineup for the Portland Raiders. Due up in the first, Barrett Brennan, A.J. Weber, Evan Thalen. Middle of the order is Brody Moore, Hudson Martin, and Tyler Smith. And 7-8-9, Gunnar Williams, Max Sanborn, and Levi Nobis. Barrett Brennan will step in first. Portland, wearing the black caps, black shirts, and white pants. Okemos in their all whites. Capital Diamond Classic semifinal, just about ready to get going. Doubleheader today. We got Williamston Grand Ledge coming up after the conclusion of this game right here on openendedmedia.com. Pignataro right-hander. Barrett Brennan will step into the box, righty on righty. First pitch. Off speed down the middle, strike 1. First pitch at 5:03, 78 degrees, mostly sunny skies. A beautiful day for baseball in early June in mid-Michigan. The 0-1 popped up high left side of the infield. James Politis in foul territory makes the play, 1 away.
That's a quick first out right there for Portland. Quick pop-up and, beautiful day, Colton, but also very hazy. Got a lot of that wildfire smoke leaking in from Canada, making the air quality a little iffy out there for tonight's game. But overall, great day. Not as hot as it could be.
Yeah, warm. One of the warmest days we've had so far this, I guess we can call it summer now. It's June. School's almost out for these kids. Graduation's happening all over the area this weekend. That ball down for ball 1 to A.J. Weber. 2 for 4 for Portland against Mason. 2 runs, 2 strikeouts for him in that game. The 1-0. That's above the belt. 2-0. Fastball from Pignataro.
Looks like it might be a tight strike zone tonight, Colton. That one was very good.
Yeah, we've seen a very wide strike zone in the first 2 rounds of this tournament, so it would be interesting to see a change for these hitters. That one's in at the knees, 2-1 to Weber.
It's always interesting to see how the umpire sets up behind the plate. Sometimes that's a tell. Tonight's umpire setting up on the left side of the catcher.
That one hit in the air right in front of the center fielder. Carter Haremski barely has to move, makes the play. F8, 2 down.
2 quick flyouts for the Portland Raiders. This is great when we talk about pitching depth, Colton, for Okemos. It's only a couple pitches in for Pignataro and already 2 Raiders down.
Already a manager, Raul Priestis, out to talk to the umpire.
That's interesting, Colton. This early on in the game, I wonder what they could be. Oh, there can be a switch out in left field, which is
they are making a change in left.
Uncharacteristic. 2 outs into the ball game. Coming in off the bench is number 4, Barrett Brennan.
Yeah, Barrett Brennan was supposed to start in.
He was.
Or no,
well,
excuse me.
Oh, wait, no, that's for Okemos on the out. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. I called that for Portland. Ryan Kinzer is the one coming in. So Ryan Kinzer will take for Sebastian Blair out in left field.
Interesting. 2 outs in, we already have a defensive substitution. First pitch on the outside corner, strike 1 to Evan Thalen.
And what makes it even weirder, Colton, is Sebastian Blair didn't have any balls hit towards him. So it's not like coach might have saw like a potential injury happen.
The 0-1 that's inside to Thalen, 1-1.
We'll keep our eye on it. And the hard part about calling high school sports is we don't get much intel up here where normal broadcasters would.
The 1-1 fouled away, 1-2 now to Thalen. He was 1 for 3 against Mason, 2 strikeouts and a walk. Got an RBI, came around to score. Busy night for the all-league shortstop.
Raiders really coming out swinging here in tonight's game. They want to get to the Wolves early.
That might be to Pignataro's benefit, as you were alluding to earlier with pitch counts. That one's fouled back.
Thalen so far putting up the most stress on Pignataro, and I say stress lightly. It's only been a few pitches in.
So Sebastian Blair leaves the game out of left field. I'm still stuck on that. That is a curious thing to see in the top of the first. The 1-2 is high, 2-2 now to Thalen.
I mean, the only thing I could think of, because I don't think it'd be an injury, because it said nothing was hit to him, is that somehow coach made a mistake in the roster, but you wouldn't think so. Diamond Classic game, and you'd have all this time to figure it out.
The 2-2. Swung on high in the air, shallow left. Kinzer up to it, comes in the game, and his first appearance in the field makes the play in left. Back-to-back-to-back flyouts, retires the side in the top of the first. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Stagg, Wilkinson, and Politis due up for the Wolves. You're listening to the Capital Diamond Classic on Open-Ended Media.
You know, that always seems to happen, Colton. As soon as someone new comes into the game, the ball always seems to find them immediately. Kinsler immediately tested, and he pulled it off right there. Barely had to move, had to come in slightly on that fly ball. Made a great basket catch. And the sun today, not a lot of clouds in the sky. Very hazy, but high sun, high sky is going to make it really hard to see those fly balls.
Only 12 pitches for Pignataro in that first inning, and that's something we're going to keep an eye on throughout the game, and you're going to keep an eye on those thresholds as well, 50, 75 pitches that determine how much rest you have to have before your next start.
Yeah, I was talking, Colton, to both coaches before the game to get their keys to the game. When I talked to Coach Raul Prisas of Okemos, one thing he really stressed was that they need solid defense, that they need to practice their fundamentals and pitch strikes because you don't want to waste too much time with the pitching, and that's exactly what Pignataro was doing. He did say the challenge is the limited pitching that they're going to have, so he wants Pignataro to go as far as he can. And I asked him, well, Coach, you win if. And he said, well, we win if we hold them to 3 outs every inning. Well, that was what they just did there. Got a 1-2-3 and flyouts. So Okemos holding strong to what their coach wants so far.
Okemos starting lineup in the first inning. It'll be Jake Stagg, Caleb Wilkinson, and James Politis due up. Ray Smith, Carter Haremski, Keegan Noble in the middle of the order. And rounding out the bottom, Jimmy Pignataro, Gabe Hart, and Sebastian Blair. And on the hill for the Raiders, Max Sanborn. We actually saw him in that win over Mason in relief. Pitched the last 2 1/3, faced the minimum. No hits and a walk, induced a double play as well. So good stuff from Sanborn. 4-pitch guy, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup.
We talk about the limited depth. Came in, had to relieve, and now starting the next game.
First pitch is in there for strike one on the inside part of the plate to Jake Stagg. 0 for 1 with a walk and got hit in their 6-3 win over Holt, but he came around to score both those times. Good base runner.
Stagg tried to sell that first pitch, kick his hips back a little bit, but the umpire wasn't buying it.
Hit right back to the mound, knocked down by Sanborn, throws it over to first to make the play. I couldn't be a pitcher, man.
No, that was a comeback straight to Sanborn's ankles, and he reached down, defended himself. I mean, the split-second timing to throw the ball and then get in the defensive position is immaculable.
And he knocks the ball down on the hill, right? Like, you're not standing on a flat surface. You knock it down on a hill. That ball can bounce anywhere. That ball can roll. It's not an easy play to make, to bend down and pick up the ball off the incline and make the throw to first. Good play there from Sanborn. 1 away to get this thing started for the Wolves. In steps Caleb Wilkinson, the righty. 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Came around to score in the win over Holt. First pitch is ball 1.
You know, you talk about, again, pitchers throwing over 2 to first. You know, it's one thing to throw to the plate, then to remember your arm now has to do something different, throwing over to first. You see a lot of errors that way, but not there by Sanborn.
The 1-0, way outside, 2-0 to Wilkinson. Middle infield playing wide. We've seen more of that in this tournament. basically daring guys to make that contact right up the gut. The 2-0. That's in for strike one. Just caught the inside corner. 2-1 to Wilkinson. Slight breeze third to first. Shouldn't affect too much. The 2-1. Swung on and drilled into center. Barrett Brennan up to it, makes the play on the liner. 2 down.
Very quick game so far, and all flyouts. And though you could technically call that last one a line out, but all batted contact, all finding gloves.
And that's the danger of having to throw strikes, right? We talk about how you don't want to throw too many balls, you don't want to waste your pitches. If you're going to pepper the zone, you're going to give guys opportunity to make good contact.
Exactly.
James Politis, 1 for 3. Brought in 2 RBI with that hit against Holt. Watches strike one on the outside corner.
Very low ball, just catches the outside corner.
Zone seems to be wider than it is tall today, the 0-1. That's down and away, 1-1.
Yeah, it's almost looking like belt to shin height right now for the zone.
Here's the 1-1. Smacked up the middle, right through that gap, and a base hit for Politis.
That was the second one right back at Sanborn. That one slightly to the left of him. Couldn't get a glove on it, but you can't blame him with that one coming hot back at him.
That's just a good piece of hitting from Politis. Can't do anything about that.
And with the zone being so low tonight, Colton, we're expecting to see a lot of ground balls. So we'll see if maybe they can turn 2 here. Well, they won't need to. They have 2 outs.
Ray Smith, 1 for 3 with a ribby against Holt. Batting in the cleanup spot. The lefty digs in. Quick throw to first. Pretty big lead from Politis, but back in safe.
You know, it seems like not a lot of runs might be scored here, so you wonder if they're going to send him to get some action started here.
Sanborn from the stretch. Runner does go. Throw down to second, not in time.
Politis with the excellent jump in anticipation. They picked over once. He knew his move and capitalized on it. Easily scoots into second base ahead of the throw.
Ball down to Ray Smith, so 1-0 count. Also worth noting, Sanborn pitching from the stretch now. He has a pretty big windup, but with the runner on, changing his motion, that one outside, ball 2, excuse me.
Sanborn almost pitching from the sidearm position, a little bit less than 3/4. Like you mentioned, Colton, he has a large windup, and he hides the ball for a long time before he delivers it.
Two-0 to the lefty. Hit in the air, left center. Brennan up to it on a run. Weber calls him off and makes the play. And the side is retired. Just the one hit in the bottom of the first. No runners cross, 1 left on. Due up for the Raiders, Moore, Martin, and Smith. You're listening to the Capital Diamond Classic live on OpenEndedMedia.com, presented by the Lansing Herald. I want to thank the Lansing Herald for their support. LansingHerald.com. Mid-Michigan's family-owned and independent news and information source based out of Hazlet. The Lansing Herald publishes their stories, scores, photos, and more throughout the week. You can read all about it for free on LansingHerald.com. The Herald, Glenn Dudasek, longtime supporters of the Capital Diamond Classic, broadcasters for the Capital Diamond Classic in previous years.
I just have to say, Colton, take this time to thank you and Open-Ended Media for allowing me to pop in for this one. I teach at Williamson, so I will have, a lot of fun calling the Williamson game up next, but baseball fan by heart, commentator by day, and I absolutely love the opportunity to come in here and get to broadcast with you.
Well, it's nice to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Nice to have somebody to talk to on these long baseball days, man. Sometimes you're up here and you're talking to yourself for 4 hours, and you know you're not crazy, at least you think you're not crazy.
Exactly.
But no, it's great having you, man. You're good at what you do, and we appreciate you jumping in to help us out today on the call here on OpenEndedMedia.com. So no score through 1. Brody Moore, 2 for 4 with 3 ribbies, batting in the cleanup spot for the Raiders. Raiders haven't changed their starting 9 from that win over Mason.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Talking with Portland's coaching staff, first pitch is fouled back. They talk about how they're sound up and down. They feel really good about their entire lineup, top to bottom. So many high school lineups are very top-heavy, top 4 or 5 guys. You know, those are your best hitters, those are your best players, and the rest of them kind of, you know, you ask them to set down bunts. The 0-1 holds off, and it's just above the zone, 1-1. But Portland, they don't feel like they have to do that. They feel like they've got a lot of talent at all positions, at all spots in the lineup. And when you have a high number of quality bats, you can do a lot of damage to teams. The 1-1 rather is high, 2-1 to Brody Moore.
Yeah, and Portland really that multifaceted team. Coach Chris Treewilder, when I was talking to him, really emphasized the solid defense that the Raiders possess as well.
The 2-1. That's inside, 3-1 to Brody Moore.
Just in off the chalk. Again, a very tight, low zone here tonight.
Got to find the zone on the 3-1. Swing and a miss, Brody Moore. The first swinging strike induced by Pignataro so far.
It's like, it doesn't matter where the zone is when you get them swinging.
Raiders 3 out of 4 making contact on swings on those situations, as that one's fouled back.
You know, Colton, you and I were talking before the game, very low net here at McLean Stadium, and I asked if he had any balls come up to the booth. He said not yet, but you haven't called as many games here as some, so we might get the chance.
We did have a broken window. The payoff is inside to Brody Moore, and he is aboard.
First walk of the day. However, it is the catcher, normally not known for their speed, so shouldn't be too big of an issue putting the catcher on.
And they will, in fact, bring in the pinch runner. Hudson King will step in as the pinch runner over at first. Hudson Martin, the 5-hitter, will take over at the dish. So you'll see courtesy runners for catchers, pitchers, first basemen, pretty common in high school baseball. And, you know, with these solid pitching staffs that both these teams have, not surprising that they want to get some speed on the base paths. The first pitch, showing bunt. Runner goes to second, did not get a great jump, but the throw is high, and he slides in safe.
He was dead to rights. However, the throw from Hart was high, allowing him to slide right in there. But, yeah, you know, you talk about that, too. It's also to move the game along quickly because you put your catcher back so he can get all his gear on so he's ready to go immediately for the next inning, and that just gets the game a lot more speedy. So the difference between pinch and courtesy, obviously, the catcher will come back in.
Right.
Where you see in the major leagues, the runner comes in, that means the other guy's done for the day.
Strike one looking to Martin. And that's, you know, one of the probably the primary difference between professional baseball and high school baseball in terms of the rules is the substitution rules. They want to allow teams to make these changes. 1-1 showing bunt, sets it down the first base line, rolls foul. So 1-2 count now to Martin, and Moore will return to second base.
Martin bunting all the way and not being shy about it. Sometimes guys will square around late to confuse the infield. He's been showing it since the first pitch. However, he can't bunt now with 2 strikes on him, because if it goes foul, that's an out.
Infield back to its normal depth. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Martin. Swung on and foul tick into the glove for strike 3. Martin will have a seat. In steps Tyler Smith. Let's meet this Wolves defense starting in the outfield left to right. Sebastian Blair got the start, was quickly replaced by Ryan Kinzer for reasons unknown. Carter Haremski and Jake Stagg at center and left, respectively. Around the horn on the infield, James Politis, Keegan Noble, Caleb Wilkinson, and Damon Wu, with Jimmy Pignataro pitching to Gabe Hart.
Pignataro just getting his first strikeout there.
First pitch is in at the belt for strike 1. Tyler Smith took a step back, was not swinging at that one at all. First base Wu was playing way in on that one. Now he's retreated back to his normal position. Infield shifted to the left. For the right-handed pull hitter Smith, he hits this one high in the air to left. Tons of time for Kinzer to get under it. And it falls into his glove for out number 2. Man, Kinzer was waiting on that one for a while.
That was a big league fly right there.
Yeah, Smith put that one in the air. That one needed to register with the FAA.
That one broke into the haze layer above the stadium.
Coming down with a little film on it. Brody Moore's still on second base. In steps Gunnar Williams. He was 2 for 4 with a run. And, you know, as you look at the bottom of the order for this Raiders team, first pitch is in there for strike one on the inside part of the plate. Nice off speed from Pignataro. In that game against Mason, they went a combined 6 for 13, and all 3 of them, 7, 8, 9, all scored in that game. So when Portland talks about how good their lineup is top to bottom, they're not kidding. Here's the 0-1. In the air to right. Stagg over to it. Can he get there? Diving play off the glove. No. Run will score. Gunnar Williams around to second. Brody Moore is in, and that, kids, is why you leg it out.
Well, and, you know, props to Stagg. He had to travel a long distance as that one got a little help from the wind, tailed over to the right side. He dived out full extension. It did hit off his glove, but by that time he was already crashing to the ground as he collects his sunglasses and hat that flew off in the process. And just like that, Raiders up 1 and a man in scoring position.
So it looks like they're not going to score that as a hit for Gunnar Williams.
Interesting. That, to me, looked like it should have been. I mean, that was a full extension, just missed it.
Yeah, that's a very difficult play. I probably would have scored that a hit myself.
In my scorebook, he got a hit.
First pitch, inside to Max Sanborn, the pitcher. He was 2 for 4 with a strikeout and a run scored against Mason.
You know, Colton, I just have to quickly say that's one thing I still love about high school baseball. You still are getting to see pitchers hit. I love pitcher-on-pitcher crime when the one pitcher helps himself out and takes the other one deep.
Well, it helps a little bit that these guys aren't quite so specialized in high school. That one off the end of the bat into right, and it's going to hook foul.
Into the bullpen. Exactly. You know, you might start a pitcher, but that's not your only specialized position. You're playing every other position. I mean, later in senior year, you see more specialization, but especially at this level, you're trying everything.
Here's the 1-1 to Sanborn. Runner on second is Gunnar Williams. The pitch. Grounder to short. Noble up to it. The throw to first in time. And that's out number 3, but not before the Portland Raiders draw first blood here in the top of the second. 1-0. Haremski, Noble, Pignataro due up for the Wolves going to the bottom of the second. And we're seeing exactly what we expected, frankly. 2 good defenses, 2 solid pitchers. It's going to be hard to score. And they will credit Williams with a hit, by the way. They did just update the scoreboard, and that's probably the right decision for my money. But we're not going to – I don't think those hit numbers are going to climb too much in this game. You're going to have to find ways to manufacture runs against these guys.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen 8 flyouts, Colton. Let me say that again. 8 flyouts through 1.5 innings. And, I mean, the ball's getting put in play, but these defenders are showing their worth right now with how great both defenses are.
And we talked about how you have to throw strikes today because of pitcher depth. That means you have to trust your defense. You have to throw a ball that your defenders can make a play on, and so far these outfielders have done a great job. Even Jake Stagg on the play that he didn't quite make, he was as close as you can be. Like, that was not an easy play to make. He dove for it, and it ticked off the end of his glove. He almost made that play, and it almost kept this game scoreless.
Well, you know, Colton, you do see, you know, as the weather warms up, the bats start coming alive, the balls start carrying more, and, you know, I don't know what was in the air or water yesterday in Major League Baseball. I don't know if you're watching some of those games. We were getting football scores left and right in some of those Major League games. I just wonder if that's going to tail down here to the high school level and see how far these balls can fly. Now, McLean Stadium, Jeff Ishbia Field, is not a small ballpark by any means. It's very pitcher-friendly. I mean, you got 403 dead center, 385 to right center, 375 down to left center, 340 to lines, and then basically a green monster out there and right on top of a hill.
Yeah, you basically... I don't know exactly if this is the case, but I'm pretty sure there is more area on this field than there is at Jackson Field downtown where the Lugnuts play. Yeah. This is not a ballpark for high school hitters by any means, not home run hitters anyway. And that's a temptation as an outfielder. It's so easy your first couple innings out here is to play super far back because you feel like you have to defend, you know, over your head. But you really don't. We've only had 3 balls hit to the track this entire tournament so far.
Yeah, no home runs, and these are the best of the best here in the Lansing area.
Carter Haremski 1 for 3 with a ribby against Holt. Lefty swings and fouls that one away down the third baseline. center fielder, middle of the order.
Raiders would love to get a quick 1-2-3 here, get back to their hot bats.
Corner's playing, well, third base at least is playing in on Heremski. Hits that one into left center. I think that's going to get down in between Brennan and Weaver for a base hit. Thinking about two, puts on the brakes, but a base hit for Heremski. Now the Wolves have a base runner.
Well, Colton, you just called it. The outfielders want to play back. That's exactly what they were doing. If the center fielder was in slightly, he might have had a play on that one, but that one did tail right into the gap between center and left.
Yeah, 403 feet, like you were saying, to straightaway center. And then in right, you have the hill behind the warning track. The warning track doesn't warn you about the wall. It warns you about the hill you're about to run up as an outfielder.
Well, and then plus a giant green monster-esque wall on top of the hill. You got 2 to 3 feet of hill and then like 16, 20 feet of chain.
They're going to check on Heremski over at first. As the evening wears on, the vista out here is going to just get better and better. The beautiful green tree line behind the whole outfield wall makes this one of the most beautiful places to watch a ball game in the entire state. That one high to Heremski, 1-1.
Yeah, excellent facilities here at Michigan State. Right on Michigan State's campus, next to their amazing softball field. Award-winning baseball field.
Every venue at Michigan State is good. The 1-0 runner goes, ball 2, throw it on to second. Is in time to get the tag. They did! Heremski caught stealing. He is out.
Heremski just not legging it out. He started strong. Halfway through, he kind of backed it down a gear, and it cost him.
And that might be what Raul Princess is saying to him as he's walking off.
Yeah, you know,
Tried
coach.
to slow down maybe to prepare himself for the slide.
And that's the thing about high school. You know, these coaches, they never get extremely mad at the players because it's learning, right? You got to coach them up.
Yeah. Right up the middle. Floats in front of the second baseman. Throw to first, not in time. Keegan Noble, not quite a bloop single, but that one in on the hand, just kind of muscled it over the mound. Didn't go very far, didn't hit it very hard, but just got enough of it, and he's aboard.
Well, and Nobis, at second base, he kind of did a double pump, double take after he'd got it, and that split second cost him the run at first. Very close play. But yeah, very, almost a, like you said, bloop, tapper, bunt-esque, but still a swing.
Jimmy Pignataro bats left, pitches right. And the throw back to first, that's a little closer than Keegan Noble probably liked. Taking a bit of an aggressive lead off of first. One away here, bottom of the second. Portland leading 1-0 over Okemos. They're going to throw back again, this time back in much easier, Keegan Noble.
And, of course, no pick-off limit here at the high school level. Unlike Major League, no pitch clock. Very different rules. This is almost more old-school baseball, how it used to be.
It really is. The pitch. Watches strike one on the outside corner.
I'd almost say you got the green light every single time you go up there. You know they're thrown in the zone. We haven't seen any wide or weird balls yet. Everything almost basically down the middle.
Only one 3-ball count so far, ended in a walk to Brody Moore back in the top of the second. The 0-1 to Pignataro. That one above the belt, 1-1. Pignataro 2 for 3 with a ribby against Holt.
That one's hard not to call him Pignataro. He is a tall man down there in the batter's box. That one, borderline, could have went either way.
As you were saying, the zone...
Favoring low.
Exactly. It's lower than you might expect. They're going to check on Heremski for a third time, and for the third time, he'll get some dirt on his jersey. The 1-1. Lays off on the outside part of the plate for strike 2. Wanted to go for it, decided not to, and he'll pay for it. 1-2 count to Pignataro.
That one froze him up right there. He started around and then immediately backed off, thinking it might leak outside.
Infield shifted to the right to watch the pull. Runner goes outside. Throw down to second is not in time. Very close. A nice tag attempt by Evan Thalen. Caught it and immediately moved the glove down to try to get Noble, and I think he thought he got him, but Noble just in there with the stolen base.
And no video assist in high school either. You got to trust the umpires on the field.
So 2-2 now to Pignataro. One away, bottom of the second. Runner on second now. The pitch. That is high, just high for ball 3 and a full count to Pignataro. And as you were saying, that's a tall guy.
Still low zone. That was almost belt high, if not a little bit lower. Still called ball.
And a full count to the pitcher.
First full count, or second full count we've seen tonight.
The payoff. That's outside, and Pignataro is aboard. Yeah, walks will kill you in a game like this, not only because you're giving up a base, but also it's 6 or 7 pitches, maybe more. You can't really afford to be throwing. They will have a courtesy runner come in for Pignataro. Henry Schnelker.
And we're going to have a conference on the mound here for the Raiders with 2 on, only 1 down now. Raiders coach Chris Treeweiler going to come out and talk to his pitcher. You know, Colton, I've got a maybe controversial take on a rule they can implement here in high school regarding the throw over, and I want your take on it.
All right.
So obviously we know where they have the pickoff limits now at the major league level. What I would think would help the high school game, and also because every time you're throwing over, that's basically like a pitch, and that's not counted for the pitcher's pitch count. I think that every time you throw over counts as a pitch towards the pitch count. That way it limits the amounts you're going to throw over, and it keeps the game entertaining. More people can steal. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on what I think they should implement maybe for the pickoff attempts, making it count as a pitch.
I don't think I'm opposed to that. I like the idea of limiting the number of hard throws that these high school arms are making. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not really a traditionalist in that way. I rather like keeping the pitch counts low,
yes,
especially for young guys. I'm not opposed to the idea for sure. So Gabe Hart, the lefty's in, swings at the first pitch he sees, high in the air to left. A.J. Weber camps out and makes the grab. 2 away.
Yeah, Gabe Hart was going up there with a home run on his mind. Big hack by the big catcher. The fly out for the 9th fly out of the day.
Sebastian Blair, the bottom of the order for the Wolves.
Which is interesting because Ryan Kinsler came in for Sebastian in the outfield, but now Sebastian's batting. So he's back into the game.
I wonder if there was maybe an equipment issue. We'll have to see if that's. We'll have to see where Blair goes at the start of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, because Kinsler was still out in left field.
Yeah.
And the umpire marking it down on the scorecard and signaling up that he is back in.
Okay.
All right, that's interesting.
Well, thanks for the signal. Umpires in high school don't usually signal the box, that sort of thing, so I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Sebastian Blair 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Holt. Had a walk and came around to score off of it. He's got 2 men on. Big at bat here for him. The pitch. Swung on, drilled down the first base line. It's gloved, and the throw, he's out.
Oh, the extension by Hudson Martin. That was just amazing. He got down on his knees, fully extended. Not only got the ball, tossed it over to Max Sanborn, streaking to the bag, and that just saved a lot of runs.
That was an excellent play from Hudson Martin. Had to dive to his right, glove it in the left, and threw it from his knees, as you said, and a good cover from Sanborn over at first, and they make the play.
Early play of the game nominee right there, Colton.
2 left stranded by the Okemos Wolves. We'll go to the top of the 3rd. 9-1-2 due up for the Raiders. Nobis, Brennan, and Weber. The Robert Downing Group spends a lot of time working in different communities, but the message is always the same. The housing market is hot, complicated, and complex. So what can you do? Work with a real estate professional who is patient, understanding, and dedicated to working with you, not through you. That real estate agent is Mid-Michigan's own Robert Downing at Keller Williams Realty. If you're buying, selling, or unsure of what to do next, the Robert Downing Group will take the time to help you achieve your next step. Find them on Facebook at the Robert Downing Group, or call them at 517-853-6390. That's 517-853-6390. So we've played 2 innings, and I think the story has been how good the defense has been.
It really has. And pitching as well. I mean, Portland only has 1 hit, but they have a run, where Okemos has 3 hits and no runs. We've seen a couple web gems already and a near web gem from these fielders.
But that's what you see when you're in the Capital Diamond Classic semifinals. These are 2 of the best teams in the area, and 2 teams that historically have maybe not had the best programs.
No, I mean, Okemos is on an 18-year drought. They won last in 2007. Portland has never tasted victory at the Diamond Classic. They are hungry for it.
If they win, it'll be their first time reaching the finals of the Diamond Classic. Levi Novus, the lefty, steps in 2 for 3 with a walk, a ribby, and a run. A busy night for him against Mason. Watches ball 1 to start the 3rd inning.
He's the last new batter we'll see in the game tonight before we get into substitutions. Number 9 hole for Portland.
James Politis playing on the grass over at 3rd. That one's high, 2-0.
Politis expecting maybe a leadoff bunt attempt, as we know Novus has speed, even though he's in number 9. A lot of times now we're seeing speed guys put in at 9 and 1.
Yep. The 2-0. That's in for strike 1 on the outside part of the plate. Yeah, the science of lineups has changed in recent years, and it's emphasizing getting your best guys more at-bats, putting them closer to the top of the lineup. More guys putting their best guy at the 2. That one slapped into center, coming up to it. Not going to make the play is Heremski. Novus is aboard.
Good job by Heremski. He really thought about laying out there to dive for it, but if he did, he had about an 80% chance of missing that, and the speedy Novus to probably get inside the Parker here at the deep McLean Stadium.
So Barrett Brennan comes up, and this is one of those things, with lineups that we're seeing, as you were alluding to, more teams putting speedy guys, maybe not high average guys, but guys who, if they do get on, give you a really good chance to bring them around with the top of the order in that 9 spot. But they're showing bunt. They pull it off, and they're going to run Novus back to 1st.
Novus was about halfway to second base. He was really expecting the bunt there, so Pigmataro really going to have to hold him on.
But now Politis playing almost on the infield grass. That opens up the space behind him for a right-handed pull hitter in Brennan to boot. The pitch, showing bunt again, pulls it off, 1-1.
Got a good call there, pulled it off just in time to get the ball call.
Brennan calling for time. Now steps back in. Not a big lead for Novus here. He's fast, though, so if that ball's in play, he can get there regardless. Bunt down the first base line, fielded and thrown to 1st by Pignataro for the out, but Novus will go to 2nd.
Good sack bunt right there by Brennan. Got it down the first base line, not too far into the no man's zone triangle. Pitcher was able to come over and get it, but they do advance the runner into scoring position with only 1 down.
And again, in a game like this, where defense and pitching are above average for both of these teams, manufacturing run's going to be important. That's why you let your leadoff man set down a bunt for your 9-hitter. That one in for strike 1 on A.J. Weber. Flew out to center back in the 1st.
Well, and Colton, you talked about it. Portland especially has so much depth all the way through their lineup. Basically, all of these guys could be batting 1, 2, 3.
The throw back to 2nd. It's going to go into center field, but no play for Novus to try to go to 3rd. Heremski coming up to make that play. Yeah, you don't see pitchers throw to 2nd a whole lot in high school, specifically for that reason. It's not an easy play to make.
I was just going to say, Colton, you were thinking the same thing. I was going to say that's an extremely hard play for pitchers to make, having to spin around a 180 and then fire.
Still playing in a bit is Politis over at 3rd for the right-handed Weber. That one hit through the gap on the left side of the infield. Novus moving to 3rd. He'll hold up there. Good base running from Novus. He watched to make sure it got through the gap, and then once it did, he took off for an easy base. But a base hit for Weber. Runners at the corners now for Evan Thalen.
Yeah, Raiders on the corners, 1 out. So that runner on 3rd is deadly. He could score with anything moderately hit to the outfield.
And Evan Thalen, you've got one of your best hitters. Fly out to left his first time up. But runners at the corners, 1 away with 3, 4, and 5 coming up in the order. Pretty good spot here for the Raiders. You got to cash in.
Pignataro hoping for a ground ball double play to get out of this. He's going to step off the mound and reconsider.
And I also imagine that because of how fast Novus is, any ground ball, he's probably going home. He's going to make them make a tag at home. It's not even a force out.
I feel like
that's probably why he's going to go. Swung on and fouled back. And just shy of the windows in the press box.
Yeah, if you're Okemos, I think you're going to fire home first. Every run crucial in this Diamond Classic. You only got 7 innings to work with, so many limited outs. Yeah, look for them to fire home, even if it might be a potential double play.
And I think that's one of the reasons you see so much small ball in high school is the shortened game, right? You treat this like you're in the 4th inning, not the 2nd. The 0-1. That's way outside. They were trying to get a pitch out on Weber. And that's another thing that we're seeing. And we're seeing in high school, the traditional wisdom is if a guy tries to steal 2nd when you have runners at the corners, don't throw.
Yeah,
because then he's going to come home. We're seeing more teams try to make that play because they can get the throw back from 2nd to home much better than they could even a few years ago. That one is in there at the knees for a strike to Thalem, 1-2.
I will say, Colton, I've watched Williamston this whole year. Williamston is experts at that. Coach Ryan orchestrates those perfect pickles, he calls them, really well, because you put a guy in a pickle, they're focused on that, and then the guy runs home uncontested.
The 1-2 foul back.
Runner was on the move there, but hit foul. He's got to retreat all the way back to first base.
Yeah, really no reason for A.J. Weber not to go. Even if you goad the throw, you give that speedy runner at third a chance to get home with only one out. So even if you are thrown out at second, that one's high. They were expecting that. He did not go that time.
You just don't want the strike him out, throw him out play, because that would then be the double play, and that'd be a horrible way to end the inning.
Two-two count to Thalen. Runner goes way outside. He'll take second without a throw. So now a base hit for Thalen could potentially score 2 and open this game up for the Raiders.
Yeah, smart job by Hart not to chuck that one down there. He knew he was beat. The ball was outside.
Just got to get in front of it, knock it down, keep the play. The payoff is down for ball 4, but it gets away. They're going to steal third. He's going to go for second.
They're not paying attention.
Throw to second. Not in time.
Thalen's going to get a walk and a stolen base on a ball that's in the dirt, and that's high school baseball at its finest. Take advantage of the mistakes. The teams have to remember that ball is live every second.
So Nobis comes in to score. Weber goes to third. They were not forced, so they effectively steal. They don't technically steal it because it was a wild pitch.
Yeah.
So wild pitch, Weber scores, Nobis goes home.
And Thalen takes second.
Takes second on a stolen base after taking his walk. A wild play to score. And it's 2-0.
And we can't even call that a walk to Thalen. That was a sprint. He
did.
Great job by Thalen to recognize that ball was in the dirt. It got to the backstop. He could have easily trotted down to first. No, he turned it into second gear, rounded first, and just slid right into second, beating the throw.
Intelligent situational baseball. But that's what, when you talk to these Portland coaches, every team stresses fundamentals, right? Every single team in all of high school baseball is going to stress fundamentals because it's high school baseball. Portland stresses it more than anybody else that I've seen. And it looks like they're making a pitching change for Okemos. I believe that is Keegan Noble.
Yep, Keegan Noble will come from short now up to the mound. We'll have to see where Pignataro goes.
So Pignataro will go 2 1/3, gives up 2, and he's responsible for the runners on second and third. 1 strikeout for him.
And if you're Okemos, you don't like this situation because pitching depth is an issue. You're getting into your bullpen in the third inning.
46 pitches for Pignataro. So he's going to be short of the 50 threshold.
You know, Coach Raul Presas could have probably left him in slightly longer, but again, you run the risk in high school. It's so easy for these guys to get in their own head. It's one thing they are training and working on, and when a pitcher starts going bad, it's really hard to get that composure back to finish out the game. So sometimes going into the bullpen is the best option.
So it looks like Henry Schnelker is going to be at short for Noble. And I'm not sure if Pignataro is going to be in the lineup. He played at first for them in that game against Holt. That might be him over at first. Again, they don't tell us about all the position changes. That might be, I think it is Pignataro over at first. Pignataro is going to slide in at first and replace Damon Damon Wu over at first base. So runners at second and third. We'll see if we can't get any other updates on the defensive alignment for Okemos. But as it is Schnelker to short, Pignataro to first, and in to pitch the right-handed Keegan Noble. First pitch is away for ball 1 to Brody Moore, who walked and came around to score back in the second.
And Colt, one thing I absolutely love about high school baseball, again, moving these players around. Pitcher comes in. Normally, you don't see pitchers with a bunch of dirt on their uniform. And, since Noble was out playing short, he dove for a couple of those balls. He's covered in dirt on his white uniform, and now he's up on the mound. How intimidating is that? You got a pitcher all decked out in dirt, fire and heaters right in.
And you wonder how much that affects the Okemos defense, because Noble is a very, very good shortstop. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about how Schnelker plays at short. So maybe we'll see Portland, you got a right-hander up. An infield hit through that part of the infield might be an early test for Schnelker. That ball's down 2-0, count to Moore.
Trial by fire, and we talked about earlier, when you switch positions or come into a game, the ball always tends to find you.
Infield playing in, the 2-0. Lays off strike one on the inside part of the plate to Moore.
So you got two runners in scoring position with only one out. Both runners potentially dangerous here for the Okemos Wolves.
Moore is a patient hitter as well. Took a 7-pitch walk back in the second, the 2-1. Swung on, fouled away down the first base line, out of play.
Coming into the jam is Keegan Noble. 2 men in scoring position. Really testing him here.
Umpire calls time. Not sure what that was about, but he's returned to his position. The 2-2. Way outside, and a great play by Gabe Hart to dive on that way outside fastball. Get the glove on it, keep it from going anywhere. He saved a run.
Hart's had 2 tremendous blocking plays, as well as a good cannon down to second, already getting a runner and being very close on a few others. I played catcher a little bit, Colton, mainly in middle school, because in high school I decided announcing was better. But you got to always give it up to the catchers. They're the unsung heroes.
The payoff is fouled away. Lights are on now here at McLean Stadium.
Nearing 6 o'clock, about 10 minutes to the 6 o'clock hour. And with that haze, though, it does make it a little bit harder to see, so lights coming on earlier, and they got to prep them for the doubleheader game tonight, the 7 o'clocker.
The payoff. Fouled away. I do believe that I saw the Lansing Herald's very own Glenn Dudasik down there on the concourse. We'll have to see if we can't get him up here to say hi at some point over the course of the evening.
Another full count pitch coming.
Huge opportunity here for the Raiders. Even a ball in play of any variety, and the umpire calling for time again.
And I'm trying to see if it's not even, I don't think, the batter calling time. I mean, you look, Brody Moore is adjusting his gloves, but
I think it's the umpire who's called for time twice now. I'm not sure what that's all about. Anyway, the 3-2 once again. Swung on, grounded on the third base line, foul.
Just leaked to the left side of the bag. Really good battle here between Moore and Noble.
9th pitch of the at-bat for Moore, and that is, again, just elevating that pitch count early, getting these relievers, trying to make them move their pitchers around. That's super helpful for you if you're Portland. The 4th, 3-2. Swung on into center. I think that's going to go over the head of Rimsky, and it will! 1 run will score. It's all the way on the hill. 2 runs will score. Rounding second, coming into third. Brody Moore is going to stand up triple. A 2-run RBI triple for Brody Moore. He wins the battle. And this game is broken open 3-0 Portland.
Colton, I love it because, when you're watching football and one of those big defensive linemen get the ball and rumble down the field and score, that's exactly what we just saw. The big man catcher smacked it all the way out to center field, 2-hopped it onto the hill. Haremski had to mountain climb out there for that one, and Moore was able to stand up into third. I wonder if that's his first triple of the season.
He smacked the mess out of that baseball, and he's already in the dugout celebrating. They got a courtesy runner on, showing bunt, setting it down. That courtesy runner is going to come in to score. The flip to first will get him.
Sack RBI for Martin right there. Beautiful bunt laid down and able to bring home the speedy courtesy runner.
Hudson King came in as the courtesy runner. We didn't even get a chance to call his name because a perfect bunt by Hudson Martin. Sack, bunt, RBI.
Raiders have blown this open here in the top of the third. 5-0 lead.
First pitch to Tyler Smith, watches ball 1 outside. And you've got to cash in those runners. You've absolutely got to cash in those runners. Coaches at every level will tell you it's so important to make sure that if you get guys on, you get them in to score, especially in these shorter games against a team that has good pitchers like this Raiders team. You've got to find a way to get them in, or like this Wolves team rather, and the Raiders did a fantastic job getting those guys around. Smith takes strike one and then takes strike two down the middle.
Well, and it just shows here, Colton. I love when the box score looks like this. Get this, Portland Raiders have 5 runs on 4 hits. So they have more runs than they do hits in this game, thanks to the walks and the wild pitches.
That one fouled back.
And the great base running IQ by these Raiders players.
Very intelligent base running, and those are those fundamentals that you talk about.
Yeah, that Coach Chris Treeweiler really stresses.
The 1-2. Grounder up the middle, and Tyler Smith keeps the party going.
Smith's grounder with eyes ekes past the second baseman for a single.
In steps Gunnar Williams. He had an RBI double back in the second. A similar hit to that would bring in this runner because Smith will be in motion on contact with 2 outs. A lot going on in this third inning, and the Raiders are loving every second of it. Throwback to first, and Smith is easily back in.
Yeah, Smith took a moderate lead there, 2-step lead. Definitely, like you said, Colton can be running on any form of contact.
That one is down for ball 1 to Gunnar Williams.
That's what I love about the Diamond Classic. You get a neutral field, pretty central for all teams. You know, a little bit more Okemos fans here, a little closer than Portland, but Portland fans showed up and they're making noise today.
The 1-0. That's down for ball 2.
Again, great job by Hart behind the plate. He's had a few balls in the dirt now he's had to handle expertly.
Yeah, the Capital Diamond Classic is a very unique event. Not a lot of tournaments like this in existence. It's like a city tournament in a reasonably large metro area in Lansing. A lot of schools around here, a lot of schools don't make it. Teams with decent baseball teams don't make it into this tournament. That one is in there for strike 1 in the outside corner.
Well, it's always hard, too, because it's in the middle of the district finals, and it's like, what do you prioritize?
The 2-1. Fouled away. Well, it would have been a lot easier if there hadn't been quite so much rain.
Yes.
We lost 4 days of baseball that we could have theoretically played to rain in a single week, and that really compressed the schedule. But again, that's baseball, man. Like, that's just the reality of playing baseball at any level, is sometimes you have to play this compressed schedule. They'll throw back to first and just back in is Smith.
Well, and especially in Michigan. Michigan in May, very unpredictable. I mean, Michigan any time of the year is unpredictable.
Especially in school baseball.
Oh,
you have to play games in March. You only have 2.5 months to get all your games in. They're going to throw back again, and once again, Tyler Smith diving back into the bag.
Well, I'll talk about this more in the Williamston game, but Williamston, too, they were impacted because there was tennis courts modifications going on, so they had to get all their home games out in the first month and a half of the season.
The 2-2. That is down, full count to Williams.
Second full count, that means the runner on first is going to be going as soon as the pitch is thrown.
Yeah, good contact into the gap will absolutely bring home Tyler Smith in this situation.
As a runner, you love this. I always wonder why pitchers don't pick off more on this 3-2, 2 outs, because the runner's going.
And there he goes. That one hit high in the air to right. Jake Stagg back to it. And he makes the play. That one a little higher than the last one that Gunnar Williams hit. A little easier play for Stagg to make. But the Portland Raiders have blown this thing open. They lead 5-0 going into the bottom of the third, and they only leave 1 on. They take advantage of their 3 hits. Just good baseball from the Raiders in that third inning.
They were 1 player away from batting around in that inning, too. Max Sanborn was the only player, the pitcher, who didn't get to go up and take an at-bat, which he probably likes because they gave him more time to rest and get ready for this bottom of the third pitching appearance.
It'll be the top of the order for the Wolves. Jake Stagg, Caleb Wilkinson, and James Politis due up. They got to get something going. Final line for Jimmy Pignataro, 2 1/3. 4 earned runs, a strikeout on 46 pitches. So not the start he wanted for sure. But that's the classic for you. You've got to get good starts out of all of your guys if you're going to have success this late in the season.
But this Okemos team is very scrappy. We can't discredit them now. I mean, it's still early in the game, only bottom of the third. only 5 runs. You know, that seems like a lot if you're not really a big baseball fan, but 5 runs can disappear in a second in high school baseball. It just takes one bad performance on the mound.
Right, and this Wolves team, they came back already this season. They were down 12-6 to Holt in the bottom of the 7th earlier in the season during the regular season. Came back and won that game. They can get things going in a hurry. This Wolves team 24-10 under Raul Priestess here in this season. You would have thought they would have taken maybe a step back after you lose a talent like Caleb Bonham, got taken in the second round by the White Sox, currently batting .296 in single-A Kannapolis in their organization. But they really haven't. They went 24-10 a year ago. It's the exact same record they had a season ago.
Yeah, very similar to Williamson. Again, I know I talk a lot about this. If you're just joining, I teach at Williamson, so I've got good insight in Williamson baseball, which is coming up next at 7. They're gaming against Grand Ledge. But Williamson lost a lot of great seniors, just like Okemos. And you thought both these programs would take a step back. No, they're right back to where they were. Just shows how great coaching staffs are, how great development is.
Yeah, Raul Priestess has done an excellent job with this Okemos program.
Well, this is the perfect time for Okemos to dig back into this deficit with their 1-2-3 up.
Stagg grounded out back to the mound on a really nice play by Max Sanborn back in the first. First pitch. Watches ball 1. I'm going to say inside.
That one's being called a strike all night. It was definitely low, but again, this umpire has a very low zone. But that one taken for a ball.
The 1-0 to Stagg. That's inside 2-0.
Stagg being a very patient hitter, down 5 right now.
Evan Thalen, the shortstop, playing over close to second. The shift on for the Raiders defense. But Nobis hasn't ranged over to his left very much over at second base. The 2-0. Swung on grounder right down the line. A base hit. It's going to roll all the way into right. Rounding first, Stagg into second with a stand-up double.
Yeah, the pitcher, Pignataro, now, the first baseman, Martin, he was shifted over to the line. It still got by him right down the line, just stayed fair on the left side, and was a bounce away from going up that hill out and right.
Can't hit it any better. That is a double in any ballpark at any level.
Especially with Stagg's speed.
Caleb Wilkinson, fly out to center back in the first. Got a runner on second to work with. Okemos in a 5-0 hole, but working their way back. It's not for lack of hits. They just haven't been able to get guys in. The pitch, showing bunt, sets it down. Foul. That one hopped over the third baseline after hitting in the infield dirt.
Looked like the Okemos Wolves are getting their bullpen ready. However, that's just Keegan Noble going back out to throw some to stay hot while the Portland Raiders are in the defense.
And Noble not due up for another 5 batters, so he's got some time. The 0-1 to Caleb Wilkinson. That catches the outside corner. Strike 2 to Wilkinson.
It looks like the zone has eked out more to the left-hander's batter's box, which means it's outside on righties and inside on lefties.
Now Wilkinson 0-2, and he's got that wide strike zone to protect. He's standing up. He's got his toes on the edge of the batter's box. The 0-2. That's high, 1-2. Good eye from Wilkinson. It's so easy as a young hitter in an 0-2 count to just kind of feel like you have to swing at anything, right? You hate to take strike 3, but...
Well, especially those high strikes, Colton. Normally for young hitters, high strikes are money, but that's the thing. It was just high enough to be a ball. He did a great job laying off.
Infield shifted all the way over to the left. The 1-2 is way outside, 2-2.
Yeah, that one is in the middle of the left-hander's batter's box, and no way that's being called a strike. If it was, I think we'd see a riot over in the Okemos side.
This Portland defense, they're definitely shifting a lot more on the infield than you might see a high school defense do. Nobis playing almost behind second base. He's the one responsible for the throw back. That pitch just above the belt for Wilkinson in a full count. He's gone from 0-2 to 3-2.
Yeah, analytics has played such a big part in recent years in high school baseball. I know Williamston, and I'll get into that in their game, have whole books on teams. They've got the sleeves that you know get with the plays on it and everything that shifts. So Portland definitely looking at that for Okemos.
The full count. Swung on in the air to right center. That's in the gap. That's going to get down, and that's going to score Jake Stagg. Picked up and right, the throw to second. They cut it off. Sliding in with a double is Wilkinson, and Okemos is on the board.
Back-to-back doubles for the Wolves. That one was a beautiful gapper. No chance for either fielder.
Perfectly placed. Righty goes opposite way. Really couldn't have met it any better, and Stagg off the bat knew he was coming home. And the Wolves have trimmed the deficit to 4, and this Wolves team's dangerous. And if anyone on that Raiders sideline, or anyone in that Raiders dugout, thought that they could rest easy being up 5-0, they haven't watched enough tape on this Okemos team. James Politis got a single and a stolen base back in the first. Pretty big lead from Wilkinson, showing bunt, pulls it off, strike 1.
Yeah, we know Politis has speed. Trying to bunt that runner over with no outs. He's in scoring position in second, but would love to get him to third.
Hudson Martin over at first, playing up close to the infield, or excuse me, up to the infield grass. They're going to throw back to second, and easily back in is Wilkinson.
Pretty close play right there. Good job by pitcher and shortstop. You know, that second base throw is hard for 2 reasons. 1, to turn that 180, and 2, not to balk, especially at the high school level.
Haven't seen a balk in this tournament yet.
Knock on wood.
Or whatever this material
Yeah,
is. The 0-1 is in there at the bottom part of the outside, excuse me, the bottom of the outside part of the zone.
So they get the old announcer's jinx started early.
Jesse Goldberg Strasser, our play-by-play for the Lugnuts. He has a T-shirt that says, "I don't believe in jinxing no-hitters. Believe me, I've tried." The 0-2, swung on, grounder to short, fielded, throw to first, runner moves to third, and they got him.
Well, it's basically as good as a sack bunt right there by Politis. He reached out for that one and got it. That one outside. He was in front of it and grounded it.
So Wilkinson does move to third. And you do have to take this one at a time if you're Okemos, right? Like, there are still, as much as we've talked about how the game is shorter here than it is at other levels, you still have a lot of outs to work with, right? And outs are resources. You know, you can sacrifice an out for a base, sacrifice an out for a run here and there.
Yeah, think of it like chess. You know, knight takes rook. Well, it's not too big of a loss as long as you position your other pieces.
That one popped up on the left side of the infield by Ray Smith on his first pitch. And Evan Thalen made a bit of a meal of that, had a little more difficulty with it than maybe he should have, but he'll make the play 2 away.
Thalen's route efficiency right there would probably be 20%, but he still was able to run around, expend some energy, but still make the catch. If anything, maybe he was trying to fool Wilkerson out there on third base to try to get him to go, thinking he didn't see it.
And you made mention of this earlier. It is a bit hazy, right? Like, the sky is this very, like, it's lighter than Carolina blue. First pitch down to Carter Haremski, ball 1. So if you're looking up into the sky looking for a white baseball against this kind of milky-ish sky, especially as you head further closer to third base looking up, it's probably not easy to find. The 1-0. Swung on, that's drilled into right center. That's going to get down. Oh, my goodness. I almost had to eat my words. Keaton McGregor made a great dive on it, but he couldn't quite bring it in. It's a double for Carter Haremski, and that brings in Caleb Wilkinson.
Colton, how did McGregor get to that ball?
I have no idea.
You and I both. I was about ready to say, well, that's going to be an easy gapper right there. And all of a sudden, McGregor appeared out of the haze, jumped, dove, took one almost off the head, but he still made the play on it. He didn't get it, but he made the play.
That's what I get for trying to get too far out ahead of the play man. Keaton McGregor, I didn't think he had a chance in the world at that ball, but he came centimeters away from making an incredible diving catch. Carter Haremski, however, is awarded the double, and Wilkinson comes around to make it 5-2.
That's 2 almost spectacular plays by both right fielders today, both coming within inches of making an incredible web gem, full extension. But as a high school coach, that's what you look for. You look for the hustle. You look for the guys who are going to give it 110% every play. He could have just backed off, said, yeah, that's in the gap. I'm not going to try. But no, he extended.
Ball 1 to Keegan Noble. I want to come back to that in just a second. The 1-0 is down and away, ball 2. And I want to also highlight Barrett Brennan in center. He does the thing that so many young outfielders don't do. They see a ball that's, someone else's responsibility. They just kind of stand there. He does what he's supposed to do. He backs him up so that when McGregor, knowing that he has the backup behind him, can try to make that play, he knows that Brennan is there to cover him so that you can at least hold him to the double. That one's outside, 3-0 to Noble.
Exactly. Team baseball. There's no I in team. You have to be there for your teammates, regardless, to back them up, play efficiently, because that's how you see a lot of these inside the Parker high school home runs where they just bounce around in the outfield, no one gets it. Batter call for time, not granted.
The 3-0, that's in there, strike one. Yeah, that was very late. He tried to get that time, and he ends up watching strike one at the knees. Some activity in the Portland bullpen. The pitch, that's high and away, ball 4, and Noble is on. And now here comes the tying run to the plate in Jimmy Pignataro.
Yeah, Mason Valier is the man warming up for the Raiders out there in their bullpen.
We haven't seen Valier pitch yet in this tournament. Who we did see was Paul Roberts. He had 3 2/3 innings for Portland, sparkling against Mason. But we haven't seen him yet. They might be trying to save him for the final. But obviously, that's the game you have to play as a manager, right? Like, you have to save decent arms for the final. You can't just put everything into the semifinal because you're trying to win a tournament here, not just a game.
Yeah, but nothing is guaranteed as that one's inside to Pignataro. That's the chess game, the mental game. How much do you expend in the semifinal not knowing the final is guaranteed? Because Portland, they're up 3, but they got 2 runners on.
And you got districts in 2 days, or regionals in 2 days. Like, it's tough
Manager's
for any manager.
nightmare.
The 1-0. That one's inside, ball 2 to Pignataro. This is, especially given, high school pitch count limits and restrictions, it's more restrictive. It should be more restrictive because this is high school. But it is really restrictive. So, you can't manufacture something as easily as maybe you can at a higher level. You also don't have, AAA to pull from. Stepping off the mound, Sanborn trying to get out of this.
Yeah,
2 outs, 2 men on, 2-0 count to Jimmy Pignataro, up 5-2 in the bottom of the 3rd. That's way inside. You worry if Sanborn's starting to lose his control here if you're over there in that Portland dugout.
Yeah, I mean, trying to get through 3 innings of work, expending the limit here. And again, he just came in to pitch their last game in relief. So he drops the ball on the mound, gets it right back though. But runners want a balk, they're not going to give it to him.
7 of his last 8 pitches have been outside the zone. 3-0 to Pignataro. The pitch, that's outside again. Pignataro is aboard.
And here comes Coach Chris Treeweiler. He's going to make the jog out to the mound and talk to his right-hander. You wonder how long, Colton, like you said, the leash is going to be. And with that many straight balls outside, I think it's very slim.
Trying to do a quick bit of math. That is 49 pitches for Sanborn.
Well, if you're Coach Chris Treeweiler, you probably want Sanborn to just finish out this inning. He's got 2 outs. Yes, the bases are loaded, but just get 1 more out. You don't want to expend your bullpen coming into the bottom of the 3rd. You want to save them fresh for the 4th, and it looks like what they're going to do here as the infielders disperse back to their positions, and it's just coach, catcher, and pitcher.
You just need 1 more if you're Sanborn. You just need to induce some soft contact.
You know your defense is amazing. They're going to back you up. As long as it's not into the gap, it's probably going to be an out.
Gabe Hart, fly out to left back in the 2nd inning.
Stocky catcher and that left-hander's batter box.
Infield playing him straight up. From the windup, strike 1 right down the middle.
Coach Treeweiler is a pitcher whisperer right there as he talks to his pitcher and immediately strike down the middle.
And that's also the benefit of having full bases for Sanborn is he can go back into his windup because he's not worried about them trying to steal home on the pitch. The 0-1. High fly fouled over the third baseline and off the concession stand roof and dropped by a bullpen attendant.
Oh, man, she almost had that one. Yeah, that's the thing.
There was a time back in the very early days of baseball when if a fan caught a foul ball.
Yeah, it would be out. Well, hey, Savannah Bananas still play that way, so they're kind of bringing that back. If you like that, go watch Banana Ball.
So here's the 0-2. Swung on, liner over the shortstop. It's going to drop in for a base hit. 1 run will score. They'll wave around another, and there won't be a throw. A 2 RBI base hit for Gabe Hart. Haremski is in. Noble is in.
Yes.
It's a 1-run ball game.
Thalen tried his hardest at shortstop. Great job. He backed up on that one. He was playing in with the bases loaded. He had to back up, jumped full extension, just got over his glove at short, leaked into the outfield, allowing 2 runs to come in. And now Coach Treeweiler right back onto the mound, and I think this might be it, Colton.
Yeah, it seems pretty likely.
It looks like some action happening in the bullpen. Bullpen doors might be opened at any second. No?
It looks like they're going to leave Sanborn out there, at least for now.
I mean, at this point, you know, what more damage can be done? Yeah, there's a runner on, but...
Or maybe not. Maybe they've made a change with someone who is already out there instead of someone who is in the bullpen.
Have, but why would they be warming up the bullpen? Interesting.
It is...
Gunnar Williams, number 3, I believe. Okay. Yes, it is. It's hard to see from up here. We're very far away from the mound.
Yep, Gunnar Williams is going to step in as the replacement for Sanborn.
Which is just so interesting because Valier was in the bullpen for the whole inning, warming up. And, I mean, Williams, yes, he was out there on the field playing third base. Just interesting. They must like the pitching matchup more here.
Induced some easy contact for his fielder, Sanborn, and he wasn't striking guys out. Didn't get a single strikeout during his time up, but he was throwing strikes. He was forcing these Okemos batters to find the gaps, and then in the third inning, they started finding those gaps, and then he started missing the zone. So Treeweiler has to make the decision. So Williams will come in. 4 earned runs so far for Sanborn, and he's responsible for the 2 on right now. Portland just trying to get out of this. They lead 5-4.
You know,
the feeling very different in that Portland dugout than it was 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, you know, I talked about how scrappy this Okemos team is. Now a 5-run lead is definitely not safe at the high school level, and that's proving precedent right here. And right now, Okemos has 7 hits compared to that to Portland's 5. The Okemos Wolves are getting hot right now when they need to, and this is proving to be a big inning and comeback. The rally cap's in full effect.
So the last hitter in the order will come in for the Wolves, Sebastian Blair.
And if he gets on, it'll be a complete batted around inning. We'll be back to Jake Stagg, the leadoff man.
Grounded out in the second. We'll see what he can do here. The 6th lefty in the Wolves order.
Just a mammoth third inning for both teams. Portland Raiders scored 4. So far, the Okemos Wolves have scored 4 here in the third. 8-run third, and we're not done yet.
So Gunnar Williams, the righty, with runners on first and second, nursing a 5-4 lead in the bottom of the third inning. First pitch to Blair is high, ball 1. You can hear the jeers from the Okemos dugout. College World Series on the brain.
Yeah, there you go.
You can hear the jeers from the Okemos dugout trying to get in the head of the new pitcher. That one's down, ball 2.
And it looks like Williams has a much slower pitch delivery than Sanborn did, which can, you think, oh, slower pitcher, easier to hit. Not so much when you're coming off high heat and then having to adjust to a slower pitcher. That's really hard for hitters to do. And I believe Sanborn took Williams' position at third.
The 2-0 is in there for strike one.
So Sanborn shifts to third base. Williams shifted to pitching. I don't believe there's any other defensive changes for the Raiders.
Well, that makes it easy for us, that's for sure. That one's way inside, 3-1 on Blair.
Good job by Moore again to back that one up and not let it away with 2 runners on base.
Yeah, catchers for both teams making very, very few mistakes so far.
And Jeff Ishbia Field here is in a tremendously long backstop. Any ball away from the catcher is going to advance a runner.
That one's outside, ball 4, and Blair's aboard.
Not what you
Pignataro
want.
to third, Hart to second.
Not what you want from your bullpen arm coming in, immediately allowing the bases loaded walk, and we batted around here in the bottom of the third. Jake Stagg, the leadoff man, can be back up. He had a double to begin this inning.
1 for 2 today. The pitch, high and away, ball 1.
Coming undone here for the Raiders after they were sitting high and pretty with a 5-0 lead.
Just got to find one more out if you're the Raiders, and both teams have gone to their bullpens here in the third, the 1-0. That's high 2-0.
This out proving to be extremely elusive, Colton. They can't find it yet.
It's so frustrating when you're in the field and you're thinking just one out, and you just can't get it.
It's a marathon.
Trying
Okemos
to
fired
hold on
up.
to this lead, the 2-0. High 3-0.
Okemos' dugout pretty quiet throughout the game. They are on the top step, banging on the railing, firing up their team and getting in the head of Williams.
7 of the last 8 pitches for Gunnar Williams have been balls.
What do you think? Green light, red light here? A walk would walk in, the tying run, but a good hit could send him in.
The 3-0. Watch us strike 1.
It was red light. That one right down the middle, taking all the way.
And I think you have to, especially in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Guys getting in here, trying to get comfortable, trying to get loose,
Now the 3-1 count, see what he does.
The pitch. That's in strike 2. So back-to-back pitches find the zone for Gunnar Williams, and Stagg lays off both of them. And now you got a heck of a payoff pitch here. Bottom of the third, 5-4. Wolves trying to tie or move in front. Full count, full bases, 2 outs. The pitch. It's down. We're tied.
Every runner in motion there will now just get to jog around the bases. Tying run comes in off the walk. You hate to see it if you're Portland. And now, same situation, bases loaded yet again for a man who just got an RBI double in the same inning.
We talked about this at the start of the inning. Can't count out this Okemos team. They can score runs in a hurry, top to bottom. Got a good lineup. Everyone, once you get to the semifinals of the Capital Diamond Classic, there aren't any weak hitters left. First pitch catches the inside part of the plate, 0-1 to Caleb Wilkinson.
Wilkinson again taking all the way there, just really testing Williams to see if he can find the zone.
Wilkinson 1 for 2 in the game, 2 for 5 in the Classic. The 0-1. That's in at the knees, strike 2. Wilkinson thought it was low and did not go.
But
Now Williams ahead in the count for the first time.
We've seen that low strike zone all tonight.
The 0-2. That's down 1-2. Wilkinson telling his guys, don't go, don't go.
Yeah, that ball was in the dirt. Runners see the ball in the dirt. They're engineered to take off, but Moore easily got down into the squat position and muffed that ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Caleb Wilkinson. The pitch lays off just above the belt, 2-2.
He wanted that high fastball. It looked really good just on the upside of the zone. Good job laying off. 2-2 and 2 outs.
That's so tough to do as a hitter, especially in high school. You want to swing at that, especially in a 2-strike count. The 2-2. Swung on, fouled away.
Late swing on that one. Fouls it far off to the right side. Yeah, you know, you talk about that bases loaded semifinal game, tied up. I mean, this is what you dream about in high school. And to be in this position and not just try to swing at everything, I mean, it takes a very strong fortitude to not.
Even count to Wilkinson, 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded. The pitch. Watches strike 3. Gunnar Williams gets the huge called strike to keep this game tied, but a 5-run third, and Okemos. They've leveled things. 4 hits, but they leave 3 stranded, so a little bit bittersweet in the end, but still a fantastic inning from this Okemos squad.
Absolutely amazing by Okemos. Again, called them scrappy. They're proving to it. And now, Colton, we got a brand new ball game heading into the 4th, basically first inning all over again here. Again, Raiders, 5 runs, 5 hits, paired to the Wolves, 5 runs, 7 hits. Getting close to 6:30 here at Michigan State, McLean Stadium.
It is a beautiful night for baseball.
Don't Stop Believing by Journey playing right now. Just picturesque, like you said, minus the haze. You know, I wonder with the Don't Stop Believing, it's perfect time for the stadium operator to play this because it's an impartial site. That's a perfect song for both teams right now. Hey, don't stop believing if you're the Raiders. Yeah, they came back, but hey, you can come right back, get hot again. For Okemos, hey, don't stop believing. You just came back from 4 down. Let's turn it on.
You are listening to the Capital Diamond Classic on OpenEndedMedia.com. Open-Ended Media is your full-service media company in mid-Michigan. Real estate media, event photography, and broadcast production. You can check out everything that Open-Ended Media can offer you, your company, your business, your event, your team at OpenEndedMedia.com. We're going to pass this one off. Max, you want to take this?
Sure,
Play-by-play
Colton.
for the
Yeah, I'll take play-by-play for the 4th. Then we got Max Sanborn, third baseman, newly minted third baseman, digging in at the mound. He's going to take a very low and inside strike right there from Noble. Yeah, Sanborn was pitching to start the game, now shifted over to third base. That one even more inside, almost takes off his ankles. Quickly, 1-1 count. He's 0 for 1 so far with a ground out. But again, this bottom of the order for the Portland Raiders have been electric through their season. He watches that one down the middle for a ball. Interesting zone now to start things off here in the 4th.
Yeah, definitely thought that one was in there for Keegan Noble.
And now Sanborn going to call time, recollect himself at the plate, maybe trying to think where exactly this zone is so he knows where to attack. 2-1. Pitches in. He grounds that one to second base. Down on a knee. Throw over to first. There's Wilkinson on a good play. 1 down for the Raiders.
And that's just good fundamental baseball from Wilkinson. Doesn't let it eat him up. Simple play right at him. Get down on the knee. You have time. Just a simple execution play, and he takes care of business.
Stayed in front of the ball, and that's everything Little League coaches and high school coaches preach. Don't let the ball get in front of you. Get in front of the ball. Now the number 9 hole, second baseman, Levi Nobis up. He's going to take that first pitch down the middle for a strike. Looked like a little bit of a slider there.
James Politis playing on the infield grass over at third. They know Nobis has the speed, willing to bunt for a hit.
And he's gotten a base hit already. That ball gets back by the catcher to the backstop. No runners on, no harm, no foul. But it is now a 1-1 count, 1 out. Still tied at 5 here in the top of the 4th.
He bunted for a hit back in the 4th inning against Mason.
That one, basically a bunt hit right back to the pitcher, and an easy play for Noble on the mound. So Nobis grounds to Noble.
And if you are Okemos, you're very, very happy to see this. Keep that pitch count low. You also want to get your bats back up. These guys are feeling good. the way that you're playing, momentum is, you know, is what it is, right? You can argue whether or not it's real. But in high school, getting back up when you feel hot, when you feel like you can get hits, so important.
Barrett Brennan takes that first pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Barrett Brennan, quick note here, he has the program record for being hit. He is the most hit by pitches on the team. He would love that here to get the go-ahead run on base, take it any way you can. You know, Colton, that's why he's batting leadoff. Not only is he a good speed guy, good contact hitter, he's good at getting contact from the baseball as well. That one again by the catcher to the backstop. Noble getting pretty wild on the mound. However, with no one on, it's not hurting him at all.
Getting hit by a pitch is legitimately a skill, right?
Yes.
Like, even just being willing to stand in and take the hit is something. You know, occupying the box, not being afraid of the pitcher.
2-1 pitch. Fired in. Called high. Advantageous count now for Brennan. 3-1. 2 outs. Tie game. Raiders really looking to get something going here after an electric third inning for both teams. That pitch swinging for the fences. Got everything but the ball.
That is only the second swinging strike this entire game so far for the Raiders.
And Brennan, if he would have connected, oh, and there it is. He gets hit. And normally I would not celebrate a kid getting hit by a pitch. But we just talked about the program record for Barrett Brennan. And on cue, he gets plunked, Colton.
There is nothing like when you are calling a game and you say something.
You set it up.
From your notes, and the research pays off, and it happens right in front of you. And you go, yes, no, not.
Yeah, not yes from getting plunked. You know, your fans watching know what we're talking about. But Barrett Brennan, you know, guys wear gear. I'm shocked he's not in a full metal armor bodysuit out there.
Right? And that wasn't off speed. He's fine. He is 100% fine. Dives back into first. They're going to check on him, and he's back in second.
Oh, yeah, Noble now. You know, if you're Noble, you're cruising along, get 2 quick ground outs. Now you got a speedy man on first. That's got to hurt the psyche a little bit, but trying to recompose himself here as he fires in a strike on the outside to Weber. Again, that zone leaking out into over to the left-hander's batter box. So for the right-handers, that one's called outside, still for a strike low. 0-1 to Weber, 1 man on, 2 outs in a tie game. The left fielder swings at that one. It might find the gap. Center fielder, though, ranges over and plays it easily. Good job out there in center by Heremski. Mosey's on over, and that quickly puts the top of the 4th to bed. 1 man on by the hit by pitch. No harm, no foul, though, for the Wolves. We stay 5-5.
Yeah, the only harm is to Barrett Brennan's hip.
Yes.
might have a small bruise on that. But yeah, no damage done to the scoreboard. Remains 5-5 going to the bottom of the 4th, and it looks like Gunnar Williams will return to the bump for Portland.
Which is still interesting because we did see Mason Valier warming up over there in the bullpen about 2 innings ago. No one's been back in that bullpen since, so it looks like they're going to stick with Gunnar Williams. He came in, he cleaned things up. Yes, he did allow a few runs, but overall, he limited the damage of what it could have been.
And now we're really going to see this pitcher depth, right? We've talked about how we're going to see it because of the nature of the game and where it sits in the season with, you know, a final tomorrow night potentially for whoever wins this game and regional games in 2 days for, you know, both of these teams. We're already going to see a lot of pitcher depth this week, but with the elevated pitch counts in the first 3 innings, especially because of that 9-run third inning between the 2 teams, we're going to see a lot of the bullpens. Might see multiple different pitchers as these managers try to keep their relievers, who might be starters in other games, under certain pitch count thresholds.
You know, and I've talked about this a lot with the Williamston players when I interview them after games, of how you got to compose yourself when you normally come in and start games, and all of a sudden you're thrown into a very critical relief situation. It's so much of a different mentality from starting a game to then coming in relief. As we see now, there is action again in the Portland bullpen, and again, it is Mason Valier up and throwing. Wonder when he's going to come in, if at all. But we're going to re-rack things here and get ready for the bottom of the 4th as the home team, Okemos Wolves, step to the plate. Their third baseman, James Pilatus. Pilatus is 1 for 1 with a first base and a stolen base. Pitch comes in from Williams, takes it low.
Yeah, moved the runner over in the third, and that runner came around to score. Politis batting in the 3 spot for a reason. Had a pair of ribbies back in their win over Holt in the quarterfinals.
Williams' command escaping him here is that one also not even catching the catcher's glove all the way to the backstop. Again, no one on, so that just is a long ball. 2-0 count now. First man of the inning for the Wolves, looking to get some leadoff action, and that one's a ground ball with eyes, past the diving shortstop, and just like that, Politis gets things started for the Wolves here in the bottom of the 4th.
Infield was shifted over towards third base. The whole infield rotated over just a little bit for the pull hitter Politis, and he finds the gap just to the batter's left of second base. Thalen lays out for it, almost makes the play, but he can't quite get there with that glove on his left hand.
Thalen's had a lot of close plays tonight, as now the designated hitter, the very tall Ray Smith, steps in. His last appearance in that monster third, he smacked a double and scored a run. Trying to do the same thing here with the go-ahead run on first. First pitch comes in, low in the dirt. Runner goes, he didn't even think about it. And just like that, Politis has his second stolen base of the night as he was going on pitch motion. It just helped him, that ball was in the dirt.
Yeah, Ray Smith, designated hitter for the second time for this Okemos team in this Diamond Classic. Missed a lot of the season with injury. They weren't sure how much he was going to play this season. They're very happy to have his bat back at least.
And the big man squares around for a bunt. He's going to try to leg it out. Williams almost falls in recovery, but he's still able to make the play at first. But that sac bunt does move Politis into scoring position now with only 1 out. That's the go-ahead run at third base.
And that should tell you how these coaches are approaching this game. Ray Smith is one of your best power hitters. He's the one who can hit the ball a mile. One of the more likely guys to actually get a home run. If there was going to be anyone in this Diamond Classic field who was going to get one, Ray Smith's near the top of that list. But they let him set down the bunt because it's bottom 4 in a tie game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That surprised me, Colton. Like you said, power hitter, I'm expecting him to swing for the fences. All of a sudden, big man lays down a bunt. That caught the infield off guard as well.
And that might be why you do it, right?
Yeah, and good job by Williams to recover. He almost slipped as now he sits back on the bump facing Heremski. Go ahead on third. That one fouled back to the screen.
Sometimes I forget the net's there.
Yes.
I can't lie.
Oh,
I jump way too often for this job.
Oh, Heremski, 2 for 2. He's halfway to the cycle. First base and second base in succession. Can he get the triple? Williams kicks fired. Heremski squares to bunt. He almost got hit by the pitch, and Politis was breaking for the plate on that one, had to retreat back to third, almost got caught
And
leaking out.
I think that's a smart play from Brody Moore, because if he throws down to third, Politis is going to take off, and then Moore is already 10 feet up the base path. He has to retreat back to home, receive the throw, and then make the tag on the runner coming in from third. I think not throwing that's very smart there.
Heremski on the 1-1, fouls that back again to the netting. Good job not jumping that time,
I didn't duck that time, yeah. No, I've done way too much of this job to still be ducking out of the way of foul balls when there's a net between me and the play.
Well,
but
again, that net's not that big. I mean, you have a right to it.
I think I'm still jumpy from the broken window
Yes.
that happened like 6 feet above me.
Hey, that's PTSD. I understand that.
Back in the first round. I think it was this Okemos team that did that, too, if I remember correctly. It's escaping me right
They're
now.
gunning for you.
Infield
Williams fires in the 1-2. Heremski hits that one. Not foul. That's up to the left fielder. Almost leaks into the gap. Left fielder streaking in. Good job by Weber to come all the way in, almost to the infield dirt. And that's going to hold the speedy Politis at third base.
So this is interesting, right? So you've got Politis at third. A.J. Weber, the left fielder, comes up to make that play. The third baseman, Sanborn, who started this game on the mound, is also over there, like initially thinking about making a play. There's no one at third, so Politis actually takes a few steps off of third because there's no one covering the bag. So
that one ripped by Noble, but right to the glove of the shortstop, Thalen. And just like that, the Raiders get out of a potentially dangerous situation, still tied 5-5.
Man, stranding that go-ahead run
That's got to hurt.
90 feet from the plate. A leadoff single, a stolen base. You had a man on second. You set down the bunt. You've got two batters coming up, two good batters, Haremski and Noble, who you feel really good about. Haremski pops up. Noble, high BABIP on that hit, right? The expected, your expected average on that's in the 700s, 800s, and just hits right to the shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very hard hit baseball. You know, if you play MLB The Show at home, that was a perfect line out right there.
Yep.
I mean, you hit it square, you hit it hard, and right to the glove.
But yeah, I want to go back to that play over at third. So there wasn't anyone on the bag covering at third because, the third baseman's off, like, thinking about trying to pick up this pop-up.
Yeah.
So Politis takes a few steps off the bag. And that's intelligent base running, right? Because he knows there's no danger of immediately being thrown out back at third. Because if that ball isn't caught, now he's, got an extra 10 feet down the base path. It's a lot easier for him to get home on a short pop-up, too. So if that ball's picked up off the dirt, you can throw that home. Brody Moore's a good catcher. So, just a little bit of intelligent baseball there from Politis.
Yeah, that ball, basically that pop-up was kind of in the no-man's zone. I mean, third baseman trying to backpedal is very hard. Normally you don't see the left fielder come in that much to make a play, but knowing the third baseman has to cover third with the runner there, he sprinted in. Great job by Weber, really out in left field, to have the wherewithal to come in and make that catch.
The Lansing Herald is Mid-Michigan's family-owned and independent news and information source. Based out of Hazlitt, the Lansing Herald publishes their stories, scores, photos, and more throughout the week. You can read all about it for free on lansingherald.com. Lansing Herald, the presenting sponsor of the Capital Diamond Classic on openendedmedia.com. Thank you to Glenn and the Lansing Herald for their support. Longtime supporters and fans of the Capital Diamond Classic. We move to the fifth inning. Thalen, Moore, and Hudson due up for the Portland Raiders.
Noble still on the mound for the Wolves. Pitching well now in relief after early struggles.
Yeah, there's something to be said for high school pitchers settling in, especially relievers, right? It takes them a couple of batters usually to kind of get comfortable. That first pitch way outside.
But again, they're picking their right times to throw those errant pitches because when runners are on, they tend to get it right to the catcher. When there's no runners, these things are going a mile back to the backstop.
The 1-0. Outside 2-0. I wonder how much of that is pitching from the stretch versus from the windup. Maybe there's a higher potential range of outcomes, especially for high school pitchers in particular when pitching from the windup. That was way inside behind the head of Evan Thalen. Ducks down and out of the way, 3-0.
Thalen's got to be careful there. He didn't drop his bat on that. And if that would have tinked off the bat, even though it's behind his head, that still would have constituted a foul ball.
The 3-0. Thalen taking all the way, and it's ball 4. And he's going to take off running because that ball gets away from the catcher, but there's not going to be a play for him to go to second. He'll just take his first.
But great hustle by Thalen, realizing that ball basically got all the way over to the Raiders' dugout over there on the first base side. He thought about rounding second. He probably could have, but he thought better of it and stayed at first. But good hustle.
That's what he did back in the third to get second base for free. Eventually would come around to score on a wild pitch on the walk. Decided to take off for second after getting to first quickly.
Yeah, so far, Thalen's base running IQ, immaculate.
Brody Moore, a walk and a 2 RBI double so far in this game. Dangerous hitter.
If you're Thalen on the base pass, you got to be antsy. We've seen so far Noble's been getting pretty wild to start things here in the fifth. Any ball in the dirt, he's going to be sprinting.
The 1-0. Way outside 2-0 and another good stop. Gabe Hart
He's had
taking the dive on it.
Work cut out from both catchers really have tonight, and they've both been doing a great job. Hart's going to now mosey out to the mound just to calm his pitcher down, make sure they're back on the same page. And we're starting to see a lot now more from the Portland Raiders dugout, Colton. They're starting to get up on that top step and try to get into the Okemos' pitchers' minds.
And there's something to be said, especially at this level of the game, when you're behind on the count, just put something in the zone. These these hitters, they're more likely to take a pitch when they're ahead in the count than at other levels. The 2-0, like right there, right down the middle, fastball, strike one. Moore taken all the way.
Yeah, exactly to your point, Colton. Just throw it in the middle, but easier said than done with some of these guys at their command.
The 2-1. Grounder to third, play is made, throw to second, one down to first. They got him around the horn as God intended.
5-4-3, double play right there. Excellent job, all started by the third baseman, Politis.
That's a huge, huge play for this Okemos defense to goad the double play ball.
Yeah, I mean, it takes the speed off the bases, and Thalen more stifled before he can even get to first.
First pitch to Hudson Martin is in for strike one. Martin 0 for 1, but has an RBI sac bunt to his name as well.
So far holding the play of the game after his diving stop at first base earlier in the game.
Yeah, definitely saved his team a run there, and that run looming large on the scoreboard right now. That one's away, 1-1.
And he has scored a run so far for his team as well with a sacrifice fly, scoring 1. He does have a strikeout on the day, though. One of the few.
The 1-1. Lays off 2-1.
Stadium starting to really fill up here now as nearing the 7 o'clock game. We're here at the 6:40 hour. Both Williamston and Grand Ledge, their fans and players packing the stadium to watch the end of this hotly contested game.
Yeah, we're not starting at 7, folks. The
No.
2-1. We never do.
No.
Like, they put 7 o'clock on the program, but we never start at 7 o'clock for the second game. The earliest I think we've started is 7:20.
Grab some popcorn, grab a nice drink, and just sit back and relax to this nice radio broadcast here on openendedmedia.com. Going to be a fun one tonight.
Keegan Noble getting the visit.
He's going to hand the ball off to Coach. They are going to make a pitching change. And it looks, if I am not mistaken, they're going to hand it to James Politis here at third base. And am I saying that right? Is it Politis?
Politis.
Politis. Okay, sorry,
Yep.
I've been butchering that.
That's what I was told. So if it's wrong, I'm sorry. That's what I was told it was.
Well, Politis now going to be the new pitcher coming over from third base. We got to see where Noble is going to transition. He was playing. Let's see, I've scratched out the notes. He was
playing it short.
He was playing short. It looks like he's going to take third base. That's the way he's walking over right now.
Okay, that would leave Schnelker at shortstop. Noble, 2 innings pitched. No strikeouts. Walked a guy, hit a guy. But only responsible for 1 run so far and the walk to Evan Thalen earlier this inning. But I think the big reason he is out now is because of that pitch count. 49 pitches for him. So right before that 50 threshold, that seems to be the cutoff.
Politis looks like he's got some good stuff on the mound. He's pitching very hard, and they're all right down in the middle of the zone. So Politis looking to lock things in and keep things tied at 5 here. Again, sitting 5-5. When the batter digs back in, it will be a 3-1 count with 2 outs. Very pivotal situation. You know, coming in mid at bat. So you come in as a pitcher, you already got 3 balls, not even of your own doing. You got to get 2 quick strikes. That's why I love high school baseball.
So nobody on, 2 out, 3-1 count to Hudson Martin. Evan Thalen walked to open the inning, but Brody Moore grounded out into a double play.
Let's see what Politis can do here as he stares down his catcher, getting the sign.
First one is in on the outside corner.
Very outside, still called strike. That's been there almost all night, though. Full count.
Full count. Swung on high in the air, shallow right. Jake Stagg calls him off, makes the play. Side is retired.
Well, good job by Politis coming right in there and doing what he was expected to do and shutting down the Wolves. Still 5-5.
That is only the second time in this Capital Diamond Classic that someone has come in mid-at-bat. The first time was back in Lansing Catholic's first-round game. Drew Tolfrey was taken off the mound. 5 2/3 innings, but he had hit 75 pitches. They pulled him despite having a no-hitter at that point. He had 12 strikeouts in that game. They pulled him in a 3-2 count. And then the next batter went down on the next strike.
Colton, your memory is admirable.
Well, that game was particularly memorable. Lansing Catholic came within 1 strike of a complete game no-hitter between all of them. They were 1 strike away, but gave up the hit on the 2-strike count in the bottom of the 7th.
A lot of good jams being played here at McLean Stadium. The white stripes now. 7 Nation Army. That always pumps me up. Now back out on the mound now for the Raiders will still be number 3, Gunnar Williams. They are sticking with him, even though we've seen Mason Valier up in the bullpen for about 3-4 innings straight. He's got to be getting tired out there.
I wonder if Valier is. I wonder if Valier maybe is pitching tomorrow. Maybe he's working off
trying to
some
get
nerves.
loose, yeah.
Like if the bullpen's empty, you know, maybe there's no. You also don't have necessarily a nice bullpen at every facility, right? So it's an opportunity to, you know, to get some throws in a good bullpen environment. So maybe he's their guy for tomorrow, or maybe for the regional semifinals, depending on obviously if they win this game, if they play tomorrow or not. So I don't know. Maybe he's just blowing off some steam.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of room to pace in that dugout, and you know, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. But in any case, bottom of the order due up for the Okemos Wolves: Pignataro, Hart, and Blair. As the Wolves try to find the lead, get their noses in front here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, they've got a good man up at the plate. He's been extremely patient, drawing 2 walks so far on the day.
Sanborn playing in at third. First pitch. Lays off strike 1 on the outside corner. That's a real good pitch there.
That was.
From Gunnar Williams.
You know, trying to find that command back, but a little squirrely. And, you know, that's why I love baseball, Colton. Technically, Pignataro is not in the stat book batted today because he's 0 for 0 with 2 walks. Even though he has been up to the plate and had great patience, but quickly in a very disadvantageous, I don't know if that's a word, 0-2 count.
I was an English major. That's a word. Watch
there we
this
go.
Strike 2. Here's the 0-2. Pop-up on the infield. Williams will let Sanborn come in and play it. Bobbles it for a second, but he got it. 1 away.
You know, I think I got to regrade one of my second graders' papers because I believe he used disadvantageous as a word, and I marked him down because I said, that's not a word.
If you got a second grader who was using the word
yeah, I was
disadvantageous
shocked.
in a sentence, that's incredible.
I was honestly shocked when I saw that. I mean, I wrote him, hey, great job, but I don't think this is a word. I didn't mark him down, but I at least questioned it. But, you know, my mother's an English teacher. She's going to be ashamed.
First pitch to Gabe Hart. Lefty watches away, ball 1. Had that 2 RBI single in the 3rd. One of the biggest hits of the ball game. That one was the one that tied it up.
Yeah, Hart looking to recreate that here.
The 1-0. In on the hands, foul back.
Swung at one that was going to hit him. It still almost did. I don't know if that went off his wrist, chest. It definitely didn't sound like bat, but he swung, so it's still a strike.
The 1-1 to Hart now. I mean, he's a catcher. He's not afraid of anything.
No. Big man stays in there after taking that one. Didn't even flinch.
Swung on grounder down to first, fielded, and running over to make the play is Martin, 2 away.
Martin took that one really hard.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Gabe Hart had his right hand over his left hand.
It definitely looked like a wonky swing on that when he was coming out of the left-handed batter's box. Now,
yeah, as a lefty with the right hand over the, that's interesting.
That's how I golf. Now, I don't know, obviously, you know, baseball and golf are so different, but I golf left-handed, only chipping and putting. I drive right-handed, but I'm weird. But in that, I have to put my right hand over my left hand, and I get really good consistency, no power, but it's consistent. So maybe that's translating there. That's the only thing I can acclimate or, you know, pertain to that.
The first pitch is a strike on the outside part of the plate. Second one, swinging strike on the outside part of the plate. 0-2 count to Sebastian Blair. So I work with the Lansing Lugnuts sometimes, and yesterday I was working pitch clock, and I got into a really fun conversation with a guy who works for the Athletics, because that's the Lugnuts parent organization. The 0-2, away ball 1. And he was doing video stuff in the same box as me. We just got to chatting about baseball, obviously.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that a lot of the tracking technology that baseball is using nowadays in the major leagues comes from professional golf. The 1-2, outside, 2-2.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, the way they track those ball lines on in golf. Now you're looking at the Google StatCast. You watch Major League Baseball game, and that's basically the exact same thing. Very interesting.
The 2-2, swung on, fouled back, out of play.
Good battle.
Just missed the press box. That was window height.
You know, and it's interesting with of course, minor league baseball, you have a team in Michigan, now associated with a team out in Sacramento, even though we can't say Sacramento because they're technically just the Athletics.
Right.
They're homeless. But
In the dirt, 3-2.
it is interesting how the minor league system works. And the Lugnuts, correct me if I'm wrong, used to be weren't they a part of either the Tigers or the Blue Jays before they shifted?
They started with the Royals, moved to the Cubs, then it was the Blue Jays, and now it's the Athletics.
I remember the Blue Jays, and now the Athletics took it over. Blue Jays took the Whitecaps.
Payoff to Blair, grounder on the right side of the infield, fielded at second by Nobis, throw to first, and the side is retired. The bottom of the order goes down 1-2-3 for the Wolves, and we are going to go to the 6th inning.
Other Colton than that one run in the top of the second for Portland, all the run scoring happened in that mammoth 3rd inning where Portland scored 4 and Okemos scored 5, resulting in our 5-5 tied ball game as we're 10 minutes away from the 7 o'clock hour.
The Robert Downey Group spends a lot of time working in different communities, but the message is always the same. The housing market is hot, complicated, and complex. So what can you do? Work with a real estate professional who is patient, understanding, and dedicated to working with you, not through you. That real estate agent is Mid-Michigan's own Robert Dowding at Keller Williams Realty. If you're buying, selling, or unsure of what to do next, the Robert Dowding Group will take time to help you achieve your next step. Find them on Facebook at the Robert Dowding Group or call them 517-853-6390. That's 517-853-6390. Those Lansing Lugnuts off tonight after coming back to split the series with the Beloit Sky Carp. They'll be in Dayton this week, and then their next homestand starts a week from tomorrow against the West Michigan Whitecaps, who are leading the Midwest League, I want to say by 6 or 7 games right now.
Well, the Whitecaps.
So a big series for the Lugnuts if they want to come back in the Midwest League. They've had a really good season. Lugnuts are really fun to watch this year.
Yeah, they are. We back a few years ago, Lugnuts were one of the premier teams. They've fallen off a little bit, but again, you're the Athletics Feeder Association. You look at where the Athletics are now. They're starting to come on the up and up, but it trickles down, and you see that.
A lot of good players in the athletics system right now
are in the minors.
Yeah,
basically.
there are a lot of them in the minors. Some of them for the Lugnuts right now, but Lugnuts are sending some guys up. Gage Jump just got promoted. Sahid Valenzuela just got promoted. So a lot of pretty good players who are going to make their way up to the bigs pretty soon. First pitch grounded away by Tyler Smith. He's leading things off for the Raiders' top of the 6th. Smith, Williams, and Sanborn due up.
Yeah, we started the top of the penultimate inning here, and tied ball game. Going to be interesting to see. Next run's going to be huge.
Schnelker playing way over there at short. Now starting to mosey his way back in a little bit. There's a very big gap to the left of second base for Smith. Lays off, and he did not go. 1-1.
Check down to the first base umpire on that check swing. Safe called. And big gap to the right of second baseman. Huge gap to the right of the right fielder. Anything hit over the first baseman's head will be a double.
The 1-1, that is down for strike 2 on the outside part of the plate.
That was in the dirt.
That was very low, I'm not going to lie. Umpires have a hard job. I'm not going to criticize them, but that was a tough strike call. That one's miles outside 2-2. That's a tough one if you're Tyler Smith.
Yeah, and umpires are human. And we're seeing in the minor leagues now that ABS-assisted ball strike calling system. And I'm curious after this pitch your thoughts on that as we step off here.
That is kind of the topic right now, right? There's something of a balance that wants that a lot of people want struck, right? Here's the 2-2. Check swing. Did he go? He did.
Interesting. They pointed down to the first base umpire. First base umpire didn't make the call, deferred back to the home plate umpire, who always has complete authority, and he said he went around.
Yeah, he just kind of shrugged at him almost. It was like, that's your call, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you take it.
Even though I've got the better view of it.
Gunnar Williams stepping in. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI double, back in the second, and a fly out. Watches ball 1 high. Yeah, I think I used to be very much strictly on the side of the robot umps, where it's like I want to get balls and strikes right, and I still want to get balls and strikes right, right? But the more that I've watched baseball and the longer that I've grown to appreciate this game, 2-0 on that ball in the dirt, I really appreciate the art of framing a pitch as a catcher. I really do appreciate that as a part of the game, the 2-0. That is in there, strike one. And there's
Speaking of framing.
Exactly, there's a framed one right there. That was low, but a good framing job by Hart. I think he pulled that one back up into the zone and got the call.
Yeah, that will become a lost art. That's something I didn't think about is, catching the frame job has become so crucial. I mean, that
one's in on the outside corner, 2-2.
You watch old games from like the 80s, 90s. Those catchers are stabbing at that ball. They put their mitt in the middle and they stab wherever it's at and leave it there. Nowadays, I mean, it's all about the frames. Beautiful.
And it's so subtle, too. That one's high and in, full count to Gunnar Williams. You'll see a catcher now. They'll start, a big league catcher. You watch an old school big league catcher, and they'll still be stabbing at it a little bit. Like if you watch Salvador Perez, he'll kind of stab at one. But here's the full count. Outside and a walk for Gunnar Williams.
Puts the pitcher on.
But yeah, you'll see a modern day major league catcher. They show their pitcher the target, right? Mm-hmm. And then they send the glove below the zone, almost like tap the ground, some of them, and then bring the glove up as the pitch is in motion, so that they'll move up and make the catch and then move the ball into the zone, or move inside or outside depending on where the pitch is going. And it's just the art of framing has become so subtle and so mastered by some of these catchers.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing, honestly.
It changes games.
Ball one high to Max Sanborn, who started this game on the mound. A pair of groundouts for him so far.
He did square around a bunt right there. Williams got moderate speed on the base paths, trying to bunt one with one out, man on first in a tie game.
You got Levi Nobis coming up, and Nobis has a base hit in this game. The pitch. That one's down, 2-0 to Sanborn.
Yeah, Sanborn with 2 ground outs so far, and that's the last thing that the Raiders want. A ground out could induce a inning-ending double play or top of the inning ending.
So to actually answer your question,
Yes.
instead of just talking about the answer, I think I like the challenge system personally.
Yeah. I do,
using it
sparingly.
Yeah, but I also think that maybe we need to expand the challenge system a little. If you could speed up the challenge system, you can give managers 2-3 challenges a game.
Yeah.
If it takes 15 seconds to identify a ball or a strike with the ABS system, then let's do that with the challenge system. The 2-0. Watch us strike one at the knees.
Again, talking about that frame job, that one was low and in the left-hander's batter box, but again, great job by Hart to frame it. Gets the call.
These catchers have been excellent
in
this game. But both Gabe Hart and Brody Moore defensively have been well. With their bats have done well. Behind the plate, they've done well. That one swung on and missed, but runner going as it gets away from Hart. Williams into second.
So they got saved on that one. That ball did skirt past Hart. However, it was a swing, so that means the ball is dead. It cannot be advanced on.
So runner returns to first. They'll throw down to first to check on Williams.
So with that 2-2 count, 1 out, tie game. Raiders still looking for another hit since the third.
Pitch in the air to right. Jake Stagg over his shoulder running into foul territory. It just lands foul. So close it landed on the hill in foul territory. 6 inches to the right of the foul line. That was almost a game-breaking triple for Max Sanborn. Instead, it's not even a strike. It's just a foul ball.
It's a long strike. You couldn't even have put another baseball in between that ball and the line. And even if you touch even the speck of a line, it's still fair. Just foul. Heartbreaker here for the Raiders.
Great job by the umpire looking down the line and making that call. The 2-2, they're going to throw it back over to first to make sure Williams doesn't take too big of a lead.
And now if you're Sanborn, how do you lock back in after that? You just got a triple robbed from you by the baseball gods. And now you got to lock right back in there. Crucial 2-2 with a man on first.
The pitch lays off, full count to Max Sanborn with a runner on first for the Portland Raiders. The bats got hot in the third. They have cooled off since. 9 of the 10 runs in this game scored in the third frame. We're in the top of the 6th. The pitch inside, ball for Sanborn, 2 on now.
Great job by Sanborn. That one was tailing inside. He stood strong and was able to take the walk inside, almost brushed him.
Now in steps Levi Nobis. Base hit in the third, came around to score. He was the first run of that 5-run rally for Okemos, grounded out in the fourth. For those of you joining us who are maybe wondering where the heck's the Williamson Grand Ledge game, We'll get there when this one is over. There will probably be about a 20-minute, probably more like a 30-minute gap between the two games. I'm Colton Wesley, here with Max Fritz, a voice you might be familiar with if you're a Williamson fan. They're going to set a bunt down in front of home plate.
Beautiful.
There's not going to be a play at first. He's in. They throw to first, but not in time. Levi Novus bunts for a hit in his second straight Capital Diamond Classic game. Williams to third, Sanborn to second.
Colton, you look up the definition of bunt in the dictionary. That's a picture of Levi Novus's bunt right there. Textbook down the third base line in the Bermuda Triangle in between the pitcher, catcher, and third baseman. Advances both runners. Bases loaded, 1 out. Go-ahead runner at third.
And the leadoff man, Barrett Brennan, is up. Takes the first strike in. 0-1.
Barrett Brennan already does have a sac bunt, and let's not forget, he leads. He's got a record for the most hit by pitches. If he gets hit by a pitch here, it'll score the go-ahead run.
Hits that one high in the air, foul, straight back into the stands, and not fielded by the man from St. John's.
I love that Ernie Harwell, used to always say, like, oh, that's the man from Kalamazoo. And that we actually know he's from St. John's. He's decked out in all the gear. So Colton wasn't just pulling that one out. He knows he's from St. John's.
Well, you love to see it. St. John's isn't even in the
No, I know. I was going to say.
You love to see that.
Yes.
You absolutely love to see it. The 0-2. Inside, 1-2.
Hey, almost again, Barrett Brennan getting plunked by that one. If you're Barrett, you want to get plunked again in the situation. That's going to score a run.
Maybe not on that
Well,
one. That was a few inches from your nose. But, yeah, I hear you. The 1-2 with the infield playing in. 5-5. The pitch. Outside, 2-2.
The only bad thing about the Diamond Classic, and it's the only bad thing, you can't keep the baseballs. Just
right?
like high school baseball, you make a great catch, you got to return it to the nearest dugout because baseballs are a hot commodity here in high school baseball. You can't keep a foul ball.
The 2-2. That's away. Full count. Another good play by Gabe Hart. That one very easily could have gotten behind him, but he dove out, lunged for it, and still kept his feet, too, to make the stop. Full count to Barrett Brennan. Runners will be in motion.
High pressure pitch right here by Politis.
The pitch. It's in for ball 4.
Walked in the go-ahead run.
Right on the line on the inside part of the plate. It's ball 4.
It's funny. You don't see many bat flips on walks, but Barrett Brennan gave a nice little flip right there. His patience at the plate allowed the go-ahead run to score, and he did have to have patience. A lot of those were borderline. He could have swung at them.
And the ball is going to be taken from James Politis. It looks like he's going to return to third. A new pitcher in the game for the Okemos Wolves.
We need to get binoculars up here, Colton. I think both of us wearing glasses, we'd have a better view of things.
I know, right?
This press box here at Jeff Ishbia Field, back a little bit. It looks like it's going to be number 6 for Okemos. That's going to be Caleb Wilkinson.
Is going to be in the game.
Well, Wilkinson, I don't envy him out there. Only 1 down. Bases are still loaded. And your team just gave up the go-ahead run.
Yeah, I misspoke. Politis currently in the game for Portland. For Okemos. Yes.
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 Yes. Well,
I'm confusing myself looking at my own scorecard. A lot of pitching changes in this game.
Yes, there's been a lot. You got to give us the credit we deserve up here. And again, in high school baseball, we're not told of anything. The home plate umpire, and I wish we had his name, has been very good of turning around and kind of motioning up here a few times when changes. But the thing is, it's just a motion. You still got to be looking down and locked in up here to know what's happening. But so far, Politis, and it doesn't help that both teams are wearing a shade of white. I mean, yes, you have the Raiders wearing the black jerseys, but Portland and Okemos have very similar colors. So in a quick glance down there, you see red, white, and black, and you got to remember, oh, yeah, who's who.
Mm-hmm. So Caleb Wilkinson is going to step in. Politis ultimately will just get 1 inning of work.
A lot happened, though. A lot of good work from him, but just got a little squirrely there towards the end. We can't
Only
lose
28 pitches for Politis as well. Wasn't in there for as long as you maybe might have expected him to been in, but he only got 1 strikeout and gave up 3 walks. 1 earned run, and he's responsible for all 3 aboard.
No, we can't lose sight of this pivotal situation. Weber's going to step in, bases loaded, only 1 down. Portland just took the lead by a go-ahead walk.
The pitch, right down the middle. Strike 1 to A.J. Weber.
Well, if you're Wilkinson, that's the way you want to attack on the mound. Step right in, fire one right down Main Street for the strike.
So Politis, I believe, has moved back to third. I'm not sure who's on second right now. That might be, that was fouled away.
Good sound, but down the third baseline foul.
Schnelker has moved to second. The 0-2. Swung on and fouled away.
Man, if Weber could just straighten that out, he'd score another run on a sac fly. That one high and outside, almost all the way to the softball field. Heads up if you're getting concessions.
And it looks like Noble has moved back to short. Okay, so the infield now around the horn. Politis, Noble, Schnelker, Pignataro with Wilkinson on the bump. The 0-2. Swung on into center. It is down in front of Heremski. It bounces over him. 2 runs are going to score. They're going to wave around a third. It's going to be a triple. Getting down, A.J. Weber, a bases clearing triple, and Portland's broken it open again.
Oh my golly gracious, Weber with the bases clearing triple. And you know, that's the thing right there by the center fielder, Heremski. He thought about it. He dove. He was close. But diving can be detrimental because just like that, that lead is now up to 9-5, Colton.
Would have been a huge play if he had made the catch. But if you don't make that catch and you get beat by that ball, find yourself in a big hole.
We've seen so many close calls by the outfielders on both teams today. Diving, getting extremely close, but man, that was detrimental for the Okemos Wolves.
If he had caught that, and now, hold on, they're going to say, did someone not touch? They just threw the ball back to second and touched the bag. Now the umpire's going to have a chat. Someone might not have touched a bag during that exchange.
So they're going to say the man running from first, because it wasn't, they didn't have to go back and touch the bag because it wasn't an out. However, the man from first might have missed the second base bag running, which means he would be out. Home plate and first base umpire are going to confer here. I don't know if they'll get the call because they seem bewildered, the umpires did when they checked over, so I don't know if they had the call.
Yeah. And now they're going to point at the runner at third, and they're going to say he's out.
Wow.
So A.J. Weber.
Now, that's not going to cost him a run, though, because Weber was the batter. So all the runs will count. Sorry, Colton.
No, you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
No, Weber is the one who is out. They pointed at Weber and threw up the fist for the out.
They're saying he missed second base after he'd hit that amazing triple. When he was rounding second base, his foot must have just missed the bag, which is easy to do when you're amped up trying to gun it to third. But luckily for the Raiders, that doesn't hurt them too bad. All 3 runs still come in, 9-5. They just lose their runner on third, but with 2 outs, that's basically like a guy on first.
Evan Thalen steps in, takes strike 1 inside.
Yeah, very peculiar play, but, you know, smart job by the Wolves. I wonder if that came from the pitcher or if that came from the dugout to check over on that.
The 0-1, slap down on the left side of the infield. It's going to get through for a base hit. So Thalen is aboard. No run will score because the runner is not on third anymore. So would be 10-5 if A.J. Weber had touched second, but as is, a man on here for the Raiders.
I am going to mark that down in my scorecard right there because that could be huge depending on how these Wolves respond. We've already seen they have responded back from being down 5 to tie it. But, you know, that was a great ground ball right there. Past the diving third baseman, past the diving shortstop. Both almost got a glove on it, but it still snuck by.
So in steps Brody Moore. A walk, a 2 RBI single, or excuse me, a 2 RBI triple rather, and a ground out into a double play takes strike 1 on the outside part of the plate. Thalen not taking a very big lead off of first.
But he's in a very...
The 0-1 off the end of the bat foul.
So I was saying, Thalen's in a very big squat, though, almost looking like he's ready to propel himself to second base. Gotta watch him to steal here with 2 outs, 2 strikes. He might be going on the pitch.
9-5 Portland, top of the 6th. A 4-run explosion to take the lead. Here's the 0-2. That's down and away, 1-2 to Brody Moore.
Great job yet again by the catcher, Gabe Hart, getting dirty, getting his glove down there to block it.
Stands really starting to fill up here. Obviously, game 2 of our doubleheader coming up next. For those of you maybe just tuning in, wondering where's the Williamson Grand Ledge game, it's coming. About a half an hour after the conclusion of this game, that one will begin. I'm guessing probably closer to 8 than 7. The 1-2. Swung on, grounded to third, fielded there. Easy throw across. They got him.
Raiders.
But what an inning.
The Wolves finally get out of the inning. Damage, though, done by the Raiders. It's 9-5. And, folks, again, just tuning in for the second game, this one was a barn burner. We were tied 5-5 since the third inning, and just now the Raiders have blown it open, scoring 4 runs the second time in the game. The last time they scored 4 was in the third. Now a 9-5 game. But, Colton, the last time the Raiders scored 4 in the top, the Okemos Wolves answered right back with 5 of their own in the bottom.
Yeah, you got to stay vigilant. If you are this Portland squad, you got to get 6 outs, right? Like, it's so easy to count outs. You want to be aware of where you are in the game, but you can't get ahead of yourself. You got to get the guy that's in front of you. You got to still play smart baseball. This is a potent Okemos offense. They've already batted around on you once. They can do it again.
You know, one thing I absolutely love about baseball, Colton, is how stats tell a story and how some things just are like these weird little things you would never get unless you're keeping score yourself. So in the third inning, when they scored 4 runs, they were 1 batter away from batting around. Well, in the 6th inning, when they scored 4 runs, they were again 1 batter away from batting around. So mirror image of the 3rd and 6th innings.
Almost the same number of pitches, too. 37 pitches thrown in the 3rd inning, 35 in the 6th. Top of the order coming up for the Wolves, Stagg, Wilkinson, and Politis.
But again, we gotta think it could have been 5 runs with that runner, with Thalen missing second base, and the smart decision by Okemos to check back over at second and get the out after he moved to third. So
Yep.
Ghost run not on the board for the Raiders. Could be 10-5, but right now 9-5.
Yep, A.J. Weaver did 90% of the job. Well, 75% of the job, I guess. He brought in 3 runs, but did not step on the bag at second.
I like your math, Colton.
I mean, I wasn't a math major, but
No, no.
I can take a ballpark guess, you know? That wasn't intentional.
That was
I'm
great,
so sorry.
though. No,
I'm
that
so
was
sorry
great.
to all of my friends and family. That was a bad one. I'm sorry.
Hey, I love dad jokes. That was great.
All right, Jake Stagg has a walk, a hit, and a ground out. First pitch. Gets the strike call on the outside corner, and I think that's that frame again.
You know, and again, I'm sorry, but, you know, with the stats repeating themselves, when Okemos answered back and had that big third inning of their own, it all started with Jake Stagg, the leadoff man. He hit a leadoff double. Can he do that again here in the bottom of the 6th? Only 1 inning to go. Remember, in high school, we only play 7.
Yeah, you're getting to the point now where it's like, all right, you're only guaranteed 1 more at bat, right? You're only guaranteed 1 more plate appearance. Got to take advantage. He's going to slap that one down the third base line, and he will get a leadoff double. Stagg around first. Up the hill goes McGregor to get it in. Stand-up double for Jake Stagg.
Baseball gods are repeating history here in the 6th inning. Can we see another 5-run 6 from the Wolves? It's starting similar. We'll see. And, you know, that hill playing dividends out there. You know, the right fielder got it, ran up the hill, McGregor. The hill helped him actually propel that throw back in. He used the forward momentum.
Yeah, that hill out in right. It goes all the way to center field, straight out in front of us, and then wraps around to the right field foul pole. It's not a big hill, but it's a pretty sharp incline. A couple of balls hit there in this one as that fastball is dropped by Brody Moore.
Think about, you know, if you watch professional baseball, especially older professional baseball, think about the Houston Astros hill out in old Minute Maid Park in center field. It's basically that, but wrapping all the way from center field over to right field.
Strike 1 to Wilkinson.
Yeah, he bunted, and the bunt went right off his own foot and dribbled foul.
The 0-1 slaps that one to the left side of the infield.
Ooh.
Good job by Thalen to stop it, and he'll hold him for a single. Runners at the corners,
you know, that's
for James Politis.
That's the best result you can hope for right there for Thalen, other than making the really good backhanded play, is just stopping the ball. If that would have gotten into the outfield, a run would have scored there for the Wolves. But just like the third inning, Colton, both first two runners get on base. So now we'll see Politis, who grounded out in the third, if he can do something different here in the sixth. Or if his destiny is already sealed here.
And Politis sat grounder to move Wilkinson to third, back in the third. Got a hit in the fourth, got a hit in the first. He's had a good game. Just trying to keep the line moving here. You're down by 4. Can't get it all back in one swing here. Ball one high.
It has cooled off remarkably here after reaching near 80 at game start. It's dipped down now, low 70s. Haze still hanging around the ballpark, but it's turning into a beautiful night for baseball. Ball might not fly as far, though, now as the humidity dies down.
The 1-0. Politis grounder through the left side of the infield. It's a base hit. Run will score. Weber dropped it out in left field, able to pick it back up quickly and not let anybody else come in, but Stagg will score. Wilkinson to second. Politis to first with the RBI single.
3 base hits now for Politis. He's 3 for 4 on the day. He does not repeat his fate from the third inning, driving in the RBI, and just like that, the scrappy Wolves are clawing back here in the sixth.
Now the tying run is at the plate. Ray Smith, no outs, bottom of the sixth.
He's going to take a long talk with Coach Raul Prisas. Raul pats him on the back. Again, this is their huge designated hitter who missed most of the season with injury. He's already got a double and an RBI and a sac fly so far on that bunt that surprised everyone, even us. The big man doesn't normally bunt. He's got all the power in the world. 2 on, no out. We'll see what he does.
Righty to lefty. Lays off. The off speed right down the middle. 0-1.
Probably taking that first pitch, just seeing what the pitcher's throwing. You see that a lot in high school, timing them up.
Long look in. Now Williams deals the 0-1 outside, 1-1.
Yeah, Wilkinson dancing out there at second base, trying to kind of confuse the pitcher, saying, hey, am I going? Am I not going?
So much of that is just attention, too, trying to keep Williams' mind on what's going on behind him. The 1-1. Smith watches ball 2. It gets away. Runners go. He's going to round third and put the brakes on. Wilkinson to third. Politis to second on what I believe will be called a passed ball.
Maybe Wilkinson's little sachet out there at second base did fool Williams just enough, as that ball, after he looked back to the batter, was in the dirt and back to this very far away backstop, easily allowing both runners to advance. So now, 2 in scoring position, no outs. Okemos looking to really capitalize here.
Ray Smith represents the tying run. Down 9-6, bottom 6. The pitch. Swung on and driven into right. It's over the head of McGregor. It hits the track, hops up to the fence. 2 runs will score. Smith is into second, and the Cardiac Canines are doing it again.
And that's Smith's second 2-bagger, 3rd RBI on the day. And that's the power we are accompanied to seeing from Ray Smith. Drives it all the way out to that hill out in right field. 1 bounce off the track on to the metal monster out there in right. I love the Cardiac Canines, by the way. That's awesome, Colton.
The tying run is on second.
Just
and
like
that's going
that.
to be the night for Gunnar Williams.
We got a ball game yet again. Cardiac Canines, scrappy Wolves, whatever you want to call them, they are clawing back in this one. Only down 1 now. And again, will that run come back to haunt the Portland Raiders as Thalen missed second base and got challenged?
Did not step on second as he came around on that 3 RBI triple.
I've got it marked in my scorebook. We'll have to see. Man, you know, these fans that came for this Williamson-Crane Ledge game are getting treated to a barn burner here, back and forth action in this first game of the night.
Yeah, we are anticipating the first pitch of that game.
maybe even 8:15 at this point now, because we got
Yeah.
about 30-minute allotment in between games, and we still have a whole inning to play here, folks.
Mason Valier, who's been getting warmed up in the Mason bullpen, or in the Mason bullpen, in the Portland bullpen.
Too many teams, too many names.
I know, right? In the Portland bullpen for the last few innings is going to get his chance.
Well, finally, you hope he's not fatigued from throwing all those pitches in the bullpen. He's been warming up since about the 3rd inning.
And because Valier hasn't been playing in the field, that allows them to leave the actual defense as it was if they desire. They can put Gunnar Williams back on 3rd if they want to. So we'll see if they maybe make that change. But Mason Valier, first time we're going to see him today pitching for Portland. We didn't see him in their first game. Didn't see him at all, except as a pinch hitter in the 5th for them in their win over Mason.
I gotta love it. Ray Smith is just having fun out there at second base. He was joking with the second base umpire, the field umpire, telling him, hey, look, I am standing on second base to make sure he knew that he's on second base and didn't miss it. That's what you love at high school. Just play loose, have fun, even though it's a tight game. Just have fun out there. It's baseball.
Well, here comes Carter Heremski, 2 for 3. RBI double back in the 3rd, and a single in the 2nd.
Still halfway to the cycle.
The pitch showing bunt, misses it, strike 1.
Squared around to bunt. Smith, the big power hitter, not known for the speed at second base, but they're trying to bunt him over to 3rd here to get the tying run 90 feet away.
You don't have any outs, so trading an out for a base is not the worst thing here. The 0-1.
Big lead right there by Smith at second, but dances back.
The pitch showing bunt, pulls it off. It's inside, 1-1.
The Okemos Wolves must have taken some line dancing lessons over in the offseason. They're doing a couple of sweet moves out there at second to try to disorient the pitcher.
Portland trying to come up with some way to keep this lead. They lead 9-8 in the bottom of the 6th. Okemos Wolves have rallied for the 2nd time. The 1-1, stepping off to have a look back, is Mason Valier.
No one covering the bag, though. Smith easily steps back on the bag. Again, the big man not known for his speed, but definitely putting on the moves out there. Acting like he might go.
The pitch showing bunt, foul. And now Heremski will have to swing normally.
If you bunt on a 2-strike pitch and it goes foul, it's considered an out. Third base coach almost standing on the base path line well outside his box, getting a good view of Smith at second base.
The 1-2, showing bunt, pulls it off. Interesting.
Ooh, that is a high mistake-ridden scenario. I mean, you got a 90% chance of making it out when you bunt with 2 strikes, but hey,
maybe with no outs, you feel like
Yeah.
the risk is worth it if you
the Han Solo approach, never tell me the odds.
Right, Raul Priestis maybe thinking, hey, leave it on. Here it is. They're gonna pitch him outside, 3-2, showing bunt again. Heremski. Now a full count. What do you do with this if you're Heremski? Because the bunt has been on the last 2-strike pitches.
You got to swing. I mean, I think you got to swing. It's been outside. Sit back, look for it. You got to get the perfect pitch, but swing. Don't try to bunt a 3-2.
Sanborn playing it in over there at 3rd. But he's mindful of it. 3-2, showing bunt, sets it down, and he fouls it. He's out.
Colton, in all my years of broadcasting, that might be the only time I've seen a bunt laid down on a 3-2 count. I don't know about you. I feel like we got pretty
certainly haven't seen
considerable amount of duty up in the booth between both of us, and I think that's a first.
I don't think I've seen that in any game I've watched, much
Yeah.
less called. I don't know if
especially
I've
in the
ever
major
seen-
leagues.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. But yes, a 2-strike bunt foul is strike 3, so Heremski is out on.
So is that a strikeout? How would I score that?
It is a strike, so it is a strikeout. I guess it's a swinging strikeout. I put B in parentheses. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, that's one of those oddities. If you're scoring at home, don't worry, we're just as lost as you are. I'll
ask Francis, our scorekeeper, for the games, how he scores that. Ball 1 to Keegan Noble.
Scorekeeping, we were talking before the game, I don't envy Francis being the professional scorekeeper here. It's a lot to award errors and figure out weird plays like that.
1 for 2 with a walk, Noble so far. The pitch. Off the end of the bat, fouled back. Oh, I think someone caught it.
Oh, he did. Great job out there reaching over he almost fell off the facade. He had to full extend for it. That's a Williamston fan. Man, Williamston plays good in the field and in the stands.
Caught by the man from Williamston. That's out of my field of vision. I couldn't see it. Good catch on that. Max leaning up into the window to be able to see who made that play. The 1-1. That's going to plunk off the helmet of Keegan Noble. And now Noble is aboard. Now the go-ahead run is on.
Noble using his noggin on that one. That's the nice part about high school, though. And yes, they got, high velocity pitches, but taking one off the helmet like that in high school is nothing compared to the major leagues or high minors.
The PA just reminded everyone that if you get a foul ball, you need to give it back. And I'm going to be honest, man, I'd let him keep it.
Well, which is good. He actually gave it to a kid. He gave it to another kid after he caught that. And now you're going to have to rip it out of the kid's hands. Come on.
That's a shame. That's a shame. I'm sure there's someone in here who will sponsor a baseball.
Oh, I know.
Someone here at McLean Stadium will sponsor a baseball for that one.
If I was a kid, put it in your pocket, turn on your biggest puppy dog eyes, and make them take it from you.
Capital Diamond Classic, man. It's a special thing.
PA announcer currently the most hated man in the stadium. Just doing his job.
I know, right? 2 men on for Jimmy Pignataro. He batted once already this inning. It was actually a fly out to third, a pop-up.
Well, only 1 out, 2 on. Okemos, again, clawing back here in this 6th inning. History repeating itself as they scored 5 in the 3rd to even things up. They need 1 more to even it and 1 more to take the lead. As we're going to get a conference between Okemos' coach and the home plate umpire, but I think he's just giving him the extra baseballs that they are apparently so desperately needed. Oh, and it looks like we're going to get a courtesy runner for the big man at second. Smith is finally going to get the much-needed relaxation on the bench, and that's going to send in Brett Burek at there at second base as a courtesy runner. Or actually, it's probably got to be a pinch runner, doesn't it, Colton? Because you can only courtesy for the catcher and pitcher.
I believe you are also technically allowed to courtesy run for first.
But you're right. He's the designated hitter.
The designated hitter does not get that courtesy.
So Smith's day is probably done as the pinch runner, Brett Burke, coming in. Probably taking over the DH responsibility for the rest of the game.
So 2-0 count now. Ball on the outside part of the plate. Pignataro 2 walks and a fly out. The pitch watches inside 3-0.
He does have an amazing ability to just wait things out at the plate, and he's 3-0 count. He could get his 3rd walk on the day, definitely getting his steps in on the night. But again, baseball, he's technically 0-1 in the scorebook. Not really crediting the walks.
I got a bone to pick with that.
I know.
I'm being honest. I like OBP so much better than average. I can't lie. The 3-0. That's in at the knees, strike 1.
Good take, though. That one trailing outside, but again, this low strike zone gets the call there. That one definitely a strike. Umpire called it 3-2, though. He held up 3-2. Scoreboard says 3-1. Interesting to see what they have.
So full count then to Jimmy Pignataro with 2 on.
You always go by the ump.
That is inside. Ball 4 didn't matter.
Oh, Pignataro fired up. Flips the bat on the walk. Pumps his fist at his dugout. Getting these Wolves ready and roaring. Because full bases loaded, 1 down. We're going to have another conference on the mound. I'm almost thinking we're at a business meeting here, Colton, with the amount of meetings we've had in tonight's game. Ready to pull up, get my latte and get my computer out and start typing notes away here.
Oh man, so much has happened in this game.
Yes.
It is. Let's just get everyone caught up. If
Yeah.
there's anyone just tuning in, we are in the bottom of the 6th. Portland 9, Okemos 8. Okemos has bases loaded with 1 out. Portland has gone up by 4 2 different times. In the top of the 3rd, they went up 5-0. Okemos came back, scored 5 in the bottom of the 3rd to tie it. Top of the 6th, Portland scored 4 again to go up 9-5. Okemos has rallied to score 3, and now the go-ahead run is 180 feet away on second base.
Again, Colton impressed me with the math skills, something I am lacking. Good job figuring that one. I know 90 feet, and beyond that. Remember, I teach 2nd grade, Colton, so I only have to know as much as an 8-year-old. So.
No, I was an English major, and I taught English, so math is definitely math.
It's a love it or hate it.
Guessing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend it's not.
Hey, if you sound smart, I will not call you on it. You say it with confidence.
Look, I'm don't mind me. I'm the guy who wrote down an entire 6th innings worth of activity in the 5th inning slot of my scorecard.
I
and just rewrite
hate when
all
I
of
do that.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, and there's so much work to do. My biggest pet peeve of scoring is when they bat around in an inning, which they did in the 3rd, because I write so big. Then you got to basically find different lines. But enough of our woes up here in the broadcast.
What I do with that in that situation, what I do is I start the I just draw an arrow and I start in the next inning.
Unless they bat around in the next inning.
Right. if you run, you know what? I have 12 innings on my scorecard, so if they do it more than 3 times, like honestly,
kudos.
It's so big of a blowout that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
We do have a new pitcher, Mason Valier. Does not register an out.
That was a long conference just to come up now with the new pitcher. He just now is starting to throw his warm-up pitches.
Yes, let's see. It is 24.
For Portland, that's going to be Max Sanborn.
Okay.
And that, you've seen him before. Wait, didn't he? Wait. No, it can't be Sanborn. He started, didn't he?
Sanborn
Yeah,
did
Sanborn
start,
started.
but he's back in.
How, is that legal?
I didn't know you could do that. Apparently you can. News to me, but that's how this game is going. But Max Sanborn is back in the game after pitching 2 2/3 to start this game. With the bases loaded. Here's the pitch. That's definitely Sanborn. I recognize his windup.
Yeah.
That's inside ball 1.
Because the Okemos coach did mention, jokingly, they have 2 guys of the same number on the team, but they're JV guys not expected to play. But that's Sanborn.
That is Sanborn.
So
all right,
this game,
news to me. I didn't know you could do that in high school.
Two things: a bunt with a 3-2 count, and a starting pitcher coming back in to basically close the game. They do have activity in their bullpen, though, does Portland. It's number 12, who they don't even have a number 12 on the scorebook. Colton, I'm lost.
Let's see. That is that's Connor Fox.
Connor Fox, a write-in, which I'm wondering if he's JV then. So Connor Fox, he's in the bullpen. He hasn't pitched, but somehow they put Sanborn back out there. I really, really want to talk to Coach Raul Princess at the end of this game. Just ask what's going on. And Chris Treewheeler as well.
The 1-0 to Gabe Hart fouls it away, 1-1.
Both teams, very interesting strategy calls so far, Colton. But it's keeping us entertained. I hope, you listening at home are just as entertained as we are up here.
Well, we're doing our best to try to
convey
keep everything straight.
Yeah.
So, bases loaded, bottom 6, 1-1, 1 out to Gabe Hart. 2 RBI single back in the 3rd, a fly out and a ground out as well. 1-1. That's down 2-1 to Hart.
And somehow the second coming reincarnation of Max Sanborn out on the mound, rising from the dead after being pulled off the mound.
Come on. He's got a little mustache or something now, 2-1 here to Gabe Hart.
His twin brother on the mound. There we go.
The pitch from the windup, fouled straight back. And again, Sanborn can go back to that windup with the full bases because no one's going to try to just steal. Long look in for Sanborn. Here's the 2-2. That is in there for strike 3. The delayed call by the umpire for dramatic effect. Sanborn gets the call. In steps Sebastian Blair. Gabe Hart down on a tough strike 3 looking call. Blair 0 for 2 with a walk. With the bases loaded.
Pressure pack situation.
The pitch. Inside, ball 1.
Good take. Blair almost wanted to lean into that one to get the hit by pitch and draw on the tying run.
Blair took his last at bat to a full count before grounding out. Infield shifted over just a little bit. Levi Nobis off to his left at second. The 1-0 hit up in the air in foul territory. That's getting out of play.
Let's see if a fan makes a play on this one. They're reaching for it. They let it crash off the stairs. No play made.
Yeah, that's a tough one to grab.
Yeah, but a bunch of the little leaguers in attendance rush over to grab that ball, but again, they can't keep it, unfortunately. So
is pretty packed now. If the ball lands among the stands, like in the actual seats, someone's gonna have a play on it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the 1-1. Another long look in for Sanborn. The windup, the pitch. That's down 2-1.
And after Blair bats here, if he makes contact or gets a walk, he'll be back to the man who led off this inning, and Jake Stagg, paralleling what happened in the third.
This is a massive at-bat, a very high-leverage situation. The 2-1. In the air to center. Barrett Brennan, can he make the play? He does. Pumps his fist in celebration. The Raiders get out of it. They give up 3, but they lead 9-8.
Raiders acting like they just won the game, but they may have with that one. Now they're going to go into the top of the 7th. They are the away team, so Okemos will still get a chance to bat in the bottom of the 7th. If you're Okemos, you want to hold them scoreless to have that one run. But, man, Portland, their fans and their players pumped up after that one.
That is a massive, massive out. 3 outs left for Portland. They're going to get to bat one more time. It's going to be Martin, Smith, and Williams due up in the top of the 7th. Open-Ended Media is your home for real estate media in mid-Michigan. The very best photos, interiors, exteriors, 2D floor plans, 3D tours, video walkthroughs, aerial photography, and video, the whole 9 yards. Open-Ended Media can do it for your listing. If you are a real estate agent or if you're a homeowner looking to get on the market, send us an email, caleb@openendedmedia.com. Check out what we have to offer at openendedmedia.com for the finest real estate media services in the state of Michigan. 7th inning.
Final inning here in high school baseball. Colton, we just need to take a breath up here. It has been yeah. I didn't know, a cattywampus kind of game. I mean, use that word. You're the English major.
It's been fun, man. This is fun. You love watching good baseball, and there's been a lot of good baseball in this game.
It really has. Both sides. I mean, we've seen potential blowouts coming in from the Raiders going up by 4 runs each time, and then the Scrappy Wolves clawing back to basically tie things up. But right now, Portland held strong. With the bases loaded, they were able to get 2 outs, lead 9-8, and they're looking to tack on here heading into the bottom of the final inning.
And now here you are. It's all very simple if you're Portland. You want to score as many as you can here to pad the lead, and then you need 3 outs. The first pitch, Hudson Martin, is smacked into left center, but Blair makes the play.
Good job by Blair to range over, finds the gap. If that would have got down, that would have been trouble fast.
1 away on the first pitch. Kayla Wilkinson happy to see that.
DH Tyler Smith, he's 1 for 2 on the day, looking to find some more power, especially being in that DH role.
And he's struck out a couple of times this tournament. First pitch, watches in strike 1. He has taken strike 1 looking all 4 of his at-bats today.
You see that a lot in high school, trying to gauge the pitcher, but
The 0-1. fouled straight back.
Oh.
And that one, we both jumped
That,
that time.
yeah.
That one was, if that net was not there, that was going to be right back here in our broadcast booth.
You know what's
0-2 to Tyler
What's
Smith.
scary about that is the ball didn't look like it was moving because it was coming exactly at us.
I play third base on the vintage team, and
Yes.
there is nothing more harrowing than when you don't think the ball's moving. The 0-2.
No.
Swing and a miss. Tyler Smith down on strikes for the second straight time. 2 away for the Okemos Wolves defense.
That's going to put all the pressure on the pitcher, Gunnar Williams, who's, no longer the pitcher after the second coming of Sanborn. But Williams going to have to just dig back in here. In the second, he did have a double with an RBI, so he's got to find that now.
Walked his last time up, takes strike 1 off speed on the outside part of the plate. Back-to-back 6 pitch at-bats for him. Faced a full count in the third and the sixth, so he can be patient. Here's the 0-1. Swung on into right center, tracking back to it, Jake Stagg and Haremski. Stagg makes the play. And now it's all very simple as we go to the bottom of the 7th. It's a 1-run game. Okemos needs to score. Portland needs to stop them. And it's going to be the leadoff man, Jake Stagg, to get things going for the Okemos offense.
But if you are Okemos, you absolutely love that result right there. A 1-2-3 inning, 2 flyouts and a strikeout. Get your hot batters right back up there. And again, interesting note here for those scoring at home or listening along. Jake Stagg, with how this game's been going with batting around, this is the 4th time he's going to lead off an inning as the leadoff batter. That does not happen a lot in baseball.
And he's a good leadoff man too. He's 2 for 3 rather, with a walk as well.
And
so Max Sanborn going to have a chance to try to close this game. How often does a guy get a start and a close opportunity? Like, he has a save opportunity here after starting, but he's not going to get a complete game. Remarkable.
So he's going to get a no decision and a save.
If he wins this game.
If he wins, yeah.
He could end up getting the loss.
Yeah.
This is remarkable.
I've
done a fair share of high school baseball. I don't think I've ever seen a pitcher come back into a game.
I really, I want to, when we're down there getting the lineups for the next game, I really want to ask the umpires if I can find them, where the rule is or what that rule is. I thought for certain, as you did too, Colton, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
Once you're done, you're done. But
well, here we are, Max Sanborn, and I imagine they had him on a pitch count, like with the idea of we're going to need him at some point later in the playoffs, but.
And this is the later in the playoffs, apparently.
Yeah, later in the playoffs is going to be 2 hours from now.
Well, the way this game's been going, this really is later in the playoffs. We're supposed to be 40 minutes into the Williamson Grand Ledge game, and we're still nursing the end here of a ecstatic game between the Portland Raiders and Okemos Wolves.
Well, if you're a Williamson or a Grand Ledge fan, you're getting treated to some very good baseball as an appetizer for your game tonight. So
if only the next game will be just as good as this one.
This has been a ton of fun. A great semifinal of what's been a great Capital Diamond Classic. Jake Stagg, Caleb Wilkinson, and James Politis will lead things off in the 7th for the Wolves. First pitch. Watches strike 1 on the outside corner. Max Sanborn trying to get the job done and get his Raiders to the Capital Diamond Classic Championship for the very first time.
Huge if you are a native of Portland.
The pitch. That's down, ball 1 to Stagg. Third base playing in.
It's interesting. That ball all night's been called a strike to right-handers, but you get a left-hander in there, and it's flip-flop. Now it's a ball.
Third base is Gunnar Williams again, by the way. That one is outside 2-1.
Man, they are borderline on borderline, and Moore doing a great job framing it, but not being rewarded here.
Yeah, players of the game, honestly, and despite everything, might be these catchers.
Yes.
Gabe Hart and Brody Moore have both been excellent the whole game. Here's the 2-1. That is just outside, 3-1 to Stagg.
Yet another great frame job. If you could be seeing this live, you would be very impressed with how great Brady Moore is framing these borderline pitches. Somehow this zone has shrunk so much here in the final inning.
Here's the 3-1. That's down, ball 4. Tying runs aboard. Winning run to the plate.
And that ball got all the way back to the backstop. Stagg threw his bat, hustled down to first, but will stay there. And now Caleb Wilkerson up to the plate. He's already got an RBI double on the day, as well as a base hit with the tying run at first base. like a walk-off would be the cherry on top of this just absolutely phenomenal, weird game.
This has been phenomenal and weird. It was phenomenally weird. The first pitch showing bunt, and he's going to pull it off. Williams was running in from third base. They're going to try to get the lead runner, if at all possible. Ball 1 to Wilkinson. The lead runner is the one they care about right now. Wilkinson might show bunt again. He will. Sets it down. Back to the mound. They're just going to take the easy one at first.
Yeah, no chance right there for Sanborn to fire over to second. Stagg was running basically on the throw. Good job by the bunt getting down, or Stagg might have been caught in no man's land. Now the speedy Stagg is the tying run at second base for the Okemos Wolves.
You will have to get a hit or some kind of advancement without an out if you are the Wolves. You can't just sack him around the rest of the way. Politis and Smith do up, though. Good hitters. Politis, 3 hits today and a sack grounder as well. First pitch is down for ball 1. Has an RBI the last time he was up. And he's also stolen a pair of bases, so if he gets on the base pads, you're looking at a potential winning run if you're Okemos.
Not good for the Raiders. This zone has closed up tremendously now. Very hitter-friendly.
Infield shifted over to the left. The pitch. Foul tick back, 1-1.
Took a smack at that one, but all it smacked was the backside behind the plate.
Portland 9, Okemos 8, bottom of the 7th. Tying run on second. Go-ahead run at the plate. 1-1, 1 out. Portland so close.
2 outs away.
Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. We have not seen a lot of swinging strikes today. A lot of pitches getting taken. When guys have swung, they have made contact way more than they haven't. But a big swinging strike for Max Sanborn. Now a 1-2 count. Wilkinson gonna have to protect, or Politis rather gonna have to protect with Wilkinson Wilkinson out. Stagg on second. The pitch high, 2-2.
Yeah, and Colton, to your point, with a lot of swings, there's only been 5 strikeouts in this entire game between both teams. With the amount of swinging, you'd be thinking there's more, but no, we've been seeing so much contact. It's been contact heavy, hence the 9-8 score.
20 hits.
Yeah, 20 hits.
To
8,
5 strikeouts.
Yeah, 8 to Portland, 12 to Okemos. Miraculous offensive day.
The 2-2 to Politis. Watches ball 3 outside. That was close. I think it might have been a little bit down. Full count to Politis, and man, the leverage is rising with every single pitch.
And technically 4 strikeouts if we don't count that weird bunt strike.
Right, because that was also a strikeout. A bunt foul strike 3 earlier in this game on a full count.
Well, here we go. 3-2.
There's another full count. The pitch.
Oh!
It's inside. He hit him.
Wait, did
Politis
it
is aboard.
Did it hit his bat? Hold up. No, wait. They're saying it hit his bat. He did not drop his bat down. They're sending the runner back.
They're sending the runner back, but the
okay.
batter is going to first. I think they're going to say it was a hit by pitch. Politis not allowed to move to third. Or excuse me, Stagg not allowed to move to third. So Stagg will stay at second. Politis goes to first on a hit by pitch.
Sorry, I got ahead of myself right there. I saw the umpire immediately come up, call time, and issue the runner back. I thought it was because it hit the bat, but no, you're right. It did hit his helmet. Sounded very similar to the bat. And the runner, that's a dead ball immediately, so the runner can advance the base.
Ray Smith.
Oh, he's had a day.
What a story this would be for him. They didn't know what his availability would be at the start of the season for Okemos.
He's got 3 RBIs on the night, 2 extra base hits, and a sac fly. His last one skied all the way out to the hill out in right field.
If he did that again, that would win the game.
2 speedy guys on first and second base for the Wolves.
1 out. Righty versus lefty. They're going to throw back to second.
They got him.
He's way off the bag. They got him. He was way off the bag. They pick him off at second.
He's dead to rights.
Jake Stagg is protesting. I don't know exactly what he's protesting, but he is out.
Stagg wants a balk on the pitcher. However, that was such a clean, well-executed throwback to second all night, Colton. We've been talking about how hard that throw is to make. But when they needed it, Max Sanborn delivers and had him dead to rights.
What a play from Max Sanborn. And now Portland 1 out away with a runner on first for Ray Smith.
If you're Okemos, you got to be gutted.
The pitch, Smith, grounder, foul.
Just foul.
Just foul.
Right to the left of the third base bag.
And that had a chance, not gonna lie, that had a chance to bring Politis home.
Tying
If
run.
that had stayed fair,
Yeah.
Politis is fast, and it was gonna die in foul territory, not even deep into left. But as it is, it's just strike one.
The tying run is at first base now, not at second after that pickoff.
The pitch, outside, 1-1.
Pressure has been just raked onto this game here in the final inning, all throughout the game. Such a bizarre one, but such a fun one.
A memorable game here at the Capital Diamond Classic. One of these teams will remember it more fondly than the other. The 1-1. In there, strike two on the outside part of the plate.
That might have been the best pitch Smith might see all night. He wants that one back.
Portland one strike away from a trip to the final. Okemos one swing of the bat away from an extra inning.
First time ever for the Raiders if they make it. A lot on the line.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Ray Smith. They're going to throw back to first. Try to keep Politis close to the bag.
Sanborn trying to do it all himself here after picking off the man at second. He wants the man at first. How sweet would that be?
Infield playing deep. Middle infield, I should say, playing deep. Long look in for Sanborn. Quick look at first. Here's the 1-2. Outside ball 2.
Borderline call. Portland fans irate on that one. That was close.
That was a good take from Smith. And that's a pitch that's been called a strike at different points tonight, but
Yes.
it's been called a ball more than it's been called a strike. Probably a good take there from Smith. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pressure mounts even more. 2-2, 2 outs.
The pitch. That is
Oh.
just outside, 3-2. That was even closer than the last one.
Oh my goodness. Well, the flair for the dramatics here in this game. 3-2, 2 outs. Tying run on first.
Smith will go.
Any hit would bring him home.
They're going to throw back to first. You were alluding to
Smart,
that
yes.
earlier. Yeah, on a 3-2 count with 2 outs, throw back, try to keep him at least somewhat close.
Yeah, you know he's going to be going on motion, so you might as well try to confuse him. Sanborn's already picked off the hard one at second. Here it comes.
A hit to the gap could tie the game. 3-2. Runner goes. Swung on. Pop fly. Straight back. Foul.
It's going to be out of play.
And
Oh, fan almost
in
tried
and
to
out of
make
the
a
hat.
catch with the hat. He missed it, but he gets it off the ricochet. That's an Okemos fan right there. So the young fellow from Okemos tried to make the catch. Just missed it.
So we'll tee it up and try again. Full count. 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th. Tying run on first for Ray Smith. Runner goes. The pitch. Swung on. Hit deep to center. Barrett Brennan coming up to it for the win. They did it! Portland to the finals!
For the first time ever, the Portland Raiders have made it to the finals in the Diamond Classic.
In a game that is a classic in and
Yes.
of itself, the Portland Raiders hold off the Okemos Wolves, and they're going to tomorrow's final. They'll play the winner of Williamston Grand Ledge. That game coming up next. Approximate first pitch around 8:25, I would say. Sometime between 8:20 and 8:30. We're going to keep the stream live. We're going to turn the audio down, but we will keep the stream itself live so that you can check back in. Approximate first pitch around 8:20, 8:25 for that game. But what a game we just saw.
Well, and, Colton, before, I got to catch my breath, but I got to say the stat line here is so intriguing to me. So Portland wins it on 9 runs, only 8 hits. So that shows the walks. There's no errors in today's game. So that really shows off the walks and the smart base running. So they win it with 9 runs, 8 hits. Okemos loses it with 8 runs and 12 hits. Okemos has more hits, but less runs. And somehow, we could talk about the oddities for another 5 hours of everything that was weird in that game, but the highlights, both catchers being lights out behind the plate. Hudson Martin making such a great, phenomenal diving play early in the first to start this game, get everyone pumped up at first base. A great web gem, basically the play of the game.
Yeah, and that play right there, that play, we wouldn't be playing
Yes.
the bottom of the 7th if Hudson Martin doesn't make that play back in the first.
Man, if you're Portland, they're going to be dangerous for either Williamston or Grand Ledge because they're hungry. Both Williamston and Grand Ledge have been to the finals before. Portland, never. This is huge for the city, huge for the team, and huge for the community.
What a win for Portland. But yeah, you had Hudson Martin making that incredible play. It was in the second inning. He robbed Sebastian Blair back in the second to keep Okemos up, or to keep Portland up rather, 1-0 at the time. Portland scores 4 in the top of the third. Okemos scores 5 to tie it. Portland scores 4 in the top of the sixth. Okemos scores 3 to bring it back close. The missed second base on the 3 RBI triple that almost comes back to haunt Portland. Max Sanborn comes back into the game and gets the save after no decision
starting.
as a starter. Incredible game. We saw a foul tick, strike 3 on a full count. Incredible game, and we're only halfway done here tonight.
Colton, if this next game is half as good as this game, it has been a tremendous night. This is why I love baseball.
Capital Diamond Classic, what a game. Portland 9, Okemos 8. Game 2 coming up next. Williamston Hornets, Grand Ledge Comets. We'll have that one for you in about 20-25 minutes. We're going to take a break, get ourselves ready for Game 2.
Catch your
we'll
breath.
see you back here. You've been listening to the Capital Diamond Classic on OpenEndedMedia.com, presented by the Lansing Herald.